Okay, we're live.
Woo.
Allegedly. We are allegedly live right now.
Awesome.
Wee.
Feels like a lie.
Are you guys thinking about Wizard World already this July or June? It's in the summer. I don't remember what
It's
day it is.
July, I think. End of July.
July.
But Charles Martinet is going to be there,
Yeah,
unless he cancels.
Who?
the dropping
The
out.
voice of Mario.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Good times.
Uh,
You know,
So,
I'm still getting like notifications on my Facebook that says, "Hey, DCMC has like 20 something new views today." I'm like, "Why?" I don't
because we
need
were awesome.
I
yeah.
guess.
Oh, I got nothing. Okay, I got nothing.
Uh,
What is going on with this thing?
Probably from that one video that we still had from when the Wii U came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Undoubtedly.
Although I did share a video, that last part of the first board we did for Mario Party 5, where I
Mm,
got like 5 stars in one turn. Actually, it was only like 3, but
yeah.
yeah, good times.
Good times.
I still can't believe that happened.
Okay, so for some reason, when I go to my Stream Now page, it's like the stream is offline. Okay?
Yeah.
Hold on. But it shows me that we are now currently streaming something else. So for some reason, it has saved the last stream that I did and is saying, well, that stream is not online anymore. But they're currently streaming something else at
Well,
this very moment.
Hmm.
the link that I had, I was asking about, is a live link right now, and they are showing us right now.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I can click on it and I can open it, but I can find view on watch page. Maybe that's what I want. Not really, but it will do. That's weird. All right. I'm scroll down into the comments. I don't know if it's going to actually help at all, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
So
So
I'll
it looks
share
like we're
that.
live?
We should be live.
Okay.
We've been live for a while now.
Theoretically.
Stammering about things.
Yepers. Let me...
Okay, so I have to share it now on mine because for some reason, starting a stream doesn't bother to automatically go to my social media, whereas uploading a video does, because that's how
Yeah.
science works.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have like a live chat on here. That's interesting.
I know, I can't figure it out. Like each time, this happened last time too, and I can't make it work. So we need to have like
A hashtag?
yeah, hashtag DCMC bats for soups. I don't know. That's long.
I need to not look at my
Hashtag
Twitter.
let's fill the entire tweet message with the hashtag so that your question is what? That'd be beautiful. Here, let me.
Better we go with, save your questions till the end of class.
Or just send us a message like at Obi1362 or at Andy_Bundy, or Eric doesn't have a Twitter.
No.
Eric, you useless swine.
I am unreachable.
We'll send tweets to your dad.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, that'll
Why
be
are you
Perfect.
tweeting me?
He sent me a friend request on Facebook. I don't know how long ago. Still haven't responded. All right. So, first thing is first, I believe.
What?
Yeah, yours is terrible.
I feel underprepared,
You are, but that's right.
You're the third party.
obviously.
I mean, you could have worn a Wonder Woman shirt. I mean,
I
that
was
would
gonna
have been
say the third
appropriate.
party was Wonder Woman. So what are we going with here? So I guess first thing first, the spoiler-free version of your thoughts.
Who's starting?
You are.
You are. You said you talked
Okay.
first.
All right. Well, spoiler-free thoughts. It was an okay movie. It wasn't like spectacular, but it wasn't terrible. I think that's the best I can go without getting into detail.
That was super spoiler-free. I'll give you that one. All right, Eric.
I have to agree. It was, yeah, it was an okay movie. It certainly had its moments that were really good. I had other things that are not as good. I would be willing to say that, in my opinion, it is the best of the Superman movies, if for no other reason than it only has about half of the Superman that most of them do.
Fair point. I did an entire video on my spoiler-free thoughts, so if someone wants to go check those out, those are available for previewing.
It's on his
Perusing?
channel. You have to search down a little bit because he actually uploads stuff.
Yeah, that happens on occasion, like every week.
Yeah.
But I found it to be better than just an okay movie. I thought it was actually pretty good. I have noted from the reviews and everything else that I am in the minority with this opinion, but that is my opinion. I think it's actually better than a lot of people have given it credit for. I certainly have my problems with this movie. Oh, do I have my problems with this movie?
If you didn't, I would think you would have a problem. We'd have other things we'd have to discuss.
Fair enough. But on the whole, yeah, it's really. I thought it was actually really good. That was really good. Minus the problem, like I said, it has problems. Every movie does, though. It's better than I think a lot of people were expecting, but at the same time, I think everybody was of two minds about this movie. They were simultaneously expecting it to be amazing and to suck. And so that's why everybody's settled on, well, it's okay. Because they can't reconcile the fact of one way or the other they're wrong. So, you know what? This way, I'm wrong on both counts. I don't know. That's my opinion. So I thought it was pretty good. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. And then, so that was your spoiler-free talk for the time being. Spoilers start in 3, 2, 1. Somebody say a spoiler.
Spoiler!
I said to say a spoiler.
Superman dies.
So die, Bundy.
Although apparently that wasn't a spoiler. I had people telling me that because I mean it was based on a comic book that was released I think 20 years ago.
About
I mean the story arc.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because wasn't in the comics that's what happened when Doomsday first showed up, wasn't it? In the comics.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the death of Superman.
Yeah, and then they even have there's even a novelization of it that's the death and life of Superman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I've now told Heather I have to find for her because she can't read. She hates reading comics for some reason. She hates the comics. She hates like having to go from the panel to panel and then because like she gets fixated on the words and just reads the words.
Oh, yeah.
And so like she's missing the rest, or she either gets fixated on one or the other. And so like she just doesn't enjoy them as much. And I'm like, okay, fine. There's a novelization of this one, so we're gonna find that, and you're gonna read it. because it's important. Because she's like, how are they going to bring him back? How are they going to bring him back? I'm like, they brought him back in the comics just fine. Really, they kind of just were like, you know what? He's Jesus. He's back. There's no explanation. There's no nothing. He just dies, and then he comes back.
Yeah.
And she's like, but how are they going to reconcile him? Like, he died, and he came back.
I think in the comics, it's explained in half a sentence in one random spot in the middle.
And what was that explanation, please?
I don't remember. That's how short it is.
Perfect.
I think it was a Kryptonian healing pod back at the Fortress of Solitude.
I'm sorry. They buried him in the ground.
Yeah.
They buried him in the ground. I'm going to go with it's the healing factor from absorbing the yellow sun radiation. The healing factor just because he completely died took longer. That's what I'm going with.
That is a more plausible reason than they gave in the comics.
Because there's no good reason. Not a single good reason for that.
Yeah.
Also, can we talk? Since you started with the death of Superman, since that's what you started with, we got nowhere else to go from there.
You said to say a spoiler, and that's kind of one of the biggest spoilers in the thing.
I mean, yeah. Well, arguably, every one of our spoilers involves somebody dying. Perfect. Our starting spoiler is always this person died. The flying dirt. Is this Dragon Ball Z now?
Well, apparently, young Batman can fly with bats. We got Bat Jesus going on here.
Okay.
So...
Let's be fair. That was clearly supposed to be like an artsy, like part of his dream stuff nonsense with him actually flying with the bats. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, and then they went back to it.
It was clearly supposed to be that afterwards.
Yeah.
That was one of the issues with that shot. It's not clearly dream sequence before that happens.
Literally, that happens, and I'm sitting next to my dad, and he's like, "What?" What?
Like when it started, I was like, "Okay, that's kind of cool. It's representative of his ascension as Batman. Sure, that's kind of cool." And then it kept going and going. Like, did that part seem to drag on for everybody else?
Yeah,
a little bit.
I was just like, how long are they gonna play this out? I'm like, are they really gonna have him fly all the way out of this stupid well? They shouldn't have made it so deep then.
And they did.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that was about, but.
So I'm trying to remember, what order did we talk about things in our last podcast? Should we stick to that?
I don't remember what the order was, so I don't know.
That wasn't me.
Well, me. All right. Like I don't know that we had a specific order. We kind of just went around and we're like, who wants to talk about what? Hey. If we had a set order, I guess last time we went through like spoiler-filled thoughts, and then somewhere towards the end we talked about theories and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
True.
So I mean, I guess we could follow that logic. I don't know. Like, where do you guys want to start? Where do you want to start? You're the guests here. Where do you want to start?
Let's talk about the characters. Let's do that, because
actually, but before we do that, I think the character's a good place. But one of my biggest issues with the movie is kind of overarching.
Okay.
So I was wondering if we could start there.
Absolutely, go for it.
Go.
Okay. One of the things I thought watching the movie that made me reach the conclusion that it's only an okay movie, not a great movie, which is interesting since this doesn't actually apply to me. But watching the movie, I felt like they didn't explain anything. To really get the movie, you had to already know what was going on. Which for me, I was comfortable. I've been following what they're doing with this movie, what they're doing with the future movies. I know the comics really well. So I watched it and went, oh, I know what's going on. I know what's happening with that. But I feel like if you didn't know any of that, this movie makes no sense. For
Uh,
instance, did they ever
real
identify
quick,
Wonder Woman?
real quick. Sorry, you'll get to go right back to that. I just got a tweet from one of our viewers saying about the spiraling bats
Hmm.
scene. He's like, my mom turned to me and went, "Why the hell can Batman float?"
Yes.
Thank you, Eris Bastion. Thank you.
Hey, I know who that is. Kind of.
So I'm sorry, Wonder Woman. What?
No, I was just saying, did they ever actually identify Wonder Woman in this movie?
Nope. Well,
Because she's kind
unless
of important to the plot.
if you
mean?
count,
What do you mean by did she ever? They ever identify her? What do you mean by that?
Is her actual name ever said?
no,
Um,
I saw it twice and I don't remember her name.
yes. I know at
When
one point they call her Miss Prince.
Yes. They hint at her name. They say
Okay,
Miss
okay.
Prince.
Yeah, I
But
don't
I
know
don't
if
think they call her by her full name, and I don't think they call her Wonder Woman in the entire course of the movie.
well, I think, and you're probably fair on that. Bundy, go ahead. You look like you wanted to.
Well, they do. If you count all the logo things when they're doing the decrypting of the special secret stuff and whatever, and they show all of the other Justice League people that I'm really excited for Aquaman. You have no idea. But they have the double W's, so Wonder Woman. I guess
Yes.
that's kind of a hint, but that's
Yes.
about it.
They had the logo.
Yes.
I remember that. They had the logo for all four of those characters.
Yes.
Which is amazing that they came up with the logos. LexCorp came up with their logos. Do you realize this?
Yes.
Yes.
LexCorp was like, these people need logos.
Well, let's just. The guy who played Lex Luthor is Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, he played Mark Zuckerberg in The Social Network. So
Sorry. Have you guys seen the Game Grumps animated for Jesse Eisenberg?
I've
Mm-mm.
not.
Okay, after this is over, you need to go watch that
Okay.
because the entire thing is about one of the Game Grumps. I forget which one it is. Complaining about the Facebook movie, but he can't remember Mark Zuckerberg's name, so he just keeps calling him Jesse Eisenberg.
I think I have seen that one actually. Now that you're saying
There's
that.
a lot of swearing.
Yes, that's Game Grumps. So
Yeah, I'm just saying. It's worth throwing out there because that's all I could think of after
yeah.
the fact. But so I think you're right. They never identified. They equally hinted her, and I think the reason they only hint at her is because they do have her Origins movie coming.
Right. And again, as someone who's been following what they're doing with the movies, I understood where they were coming from. In a lot of those things, like the entire scene where they're looking at the 15-second previews for the upcoming DC movies. Um, but I felt like if you didn't know any of that stuff, if you hadn't been following what DC's planning to do or what DC had done before, most of this movie doesn't make sense.
Like, I think, and this is weird, me trying to be me being on the, but it was pretty good, guys. I didn't think it was gonna go this way. I should have, but I think what they were banking on was that this movie has the three could be argued the three most iconic superheroes ever. Like,
Yeah.
if you went to pre the new Marvel Cinematic Universe, where now now you could argue Cap and Iron Man are now much more iconic than they used to be.
Yeah.
They were iconic, but they weren't superheroes that literally everybody knew.
Right.
Literally everybody knows who Batman is, who Superman is, and who Wonder Woman is.
Yes.
Or almost
Mostly, if you talk about things that everybody knows, Wonder Woman is the old Wonder Woman, not the current Wonder Woman.
Well, right. But I think it's more of like, because everybody knows who Wonder Woman is. They don't know the new one.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were actually banking on that a lot, because those scenes with Gal Gadot, if you don't know she's Wonder Woman, you get to be like, ooh, who's this hot chick who's being all mysterious and giving Bats a run for his money?
Right.
And then you see her show up, and when she shows up, in the Wonder Woman outfit, you're like,
Wait, she's a superhero?
yeah, you're
Yeah,
like, that's Wonder Woman.
and I have to say, I really appreciate that they didn't do Origins of Batman. Really, because let's
Yeah.
face it, everybody knows that. It's true.
I
But
found this
even
to
that
be
they
like,
hinted at.
I found this to be like the most beautiful, beautifully succinct origin story ever. like, like they were just like, here's a kid walking around, bam, bam, his parents are dead, and then rising out of a well on bats. I mean,
Though I have to say, being a film major myself, the shot where he's taking the gun and shoots it and the pearls go flying everywhere, that's like my favorite shot in the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
that's actually really good.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, good.
So like
We're
we can
starting to
all
think-
agree that the death of the Waynes was great.
Yes, that entire sequence was beautiful up until the falling down the well and the
Yes.
bats.
That's why we're focusing on the death part,
Yes.
not the ascension part.
Martha.
So okay, so we all agree that the Waynes dying was wonderful.
Yes.
Yes.
Sweep that under the rug. um, so like yeah, I see what you're saying. Like there wasn't they didn't give the audience a whole heck of a lot to work with. I think
Mm-hmm.
I think they were banking on, again, like I said, I think they were banking on the fact of like everybody knows who Superman is already. He had his movie. He had his movie
Right.
already.
Yeah,
And
and,
so,
that
like-
made sense. This
So like
I went into this expecting Man of Steel 2.
right. And amazingly, you almost got Dark Knight 3.
4.
Actually, technically, it would.
The first
Dark
one was
Knight.
Batman Begins.
Yeah.
It's still part of the Dark Knight trilogy, though.
The Dark Knight returns again.
The Dark Knight rises again and punches Superman in the face. So like, but like my point is like this was,
Mhm.
as you mentioned previously, this was a Superman movie that had a remarkably little amount of Superman.
Yes, which I really appreciated.
Amen. But
So would you consider this more of a Batman movie or a Superman movie, or does it have enough of a mix to be considered both?
Personally, watching it, it felt like a Superman movie starring Batman.
Okay.
No, it didn't have the same feel that the last several Batman movies have had. It felt much more like the Superman movies do.
And that would probably be also attributed to the fact that wasn't it Zack Snyder who directed this one,
Yes.
and not Christopher Nolan?
yeah, no, I tweeted at Zack Snyder to see if he would show up. Amazingly, I got no response. I can't imagine.
What?
What?
Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Zack Snyder, none of them responded.
That's just rude.
I wanted Batfleck to show up. I wanted him to show up.
He already has shown that he doesn't like that people don't like the movie. Oh.
Well, then he should have came, because two of you are saying it's okay, and I'm saying I really liked it. He should have came. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Oh well, what can you do? I'm not that famous yet.
Me neither.
The fact that you can attempt to say yet at the end of that you can even put the qualifier on there. I don't know what to say to you.
Oh gosh. This movie, like, there were a lot of moments where I'm just like, what is going on right now?
So
there was. Oh, go ahead.
I just before we get off, what Eric said about it feeling more like a Superman movie than a Batman movie, I almost want to. Like, I feel like what I've heard is a lot of the other way around. Like, it feels a lot like Man of Steel Superman,
Yes.
for obvious reasons.
Yes.
But, like, I saw a lot of people complaining that, like, this is such a joyless movie, and Superman movies are supposed to have joy. And it's like, well, screw you all. But,
Yeah.
but like, uh, it felt to me. It seemed like it. I would say that it's clearly a Bats and Soups movie to me.
Mhm.
They got a lot of the same. They got almost the same amount of airtime. I thought I
Yeah,
only
I would
saw it
agree with that.
once, uh, but I think more than anything, the the thing is, it's not a Batman movie. It's not a Superman movie. It's literally the tagline. The tagline could have just been the title, Dawn of Justice. That could have just been the title,
Yeah.
and that would have been all clickbaity, like Batman vs Superman was.
It's okay. I found actually an old video of mine from 2 years ago when they announced Ben Affleck was being Batman, and back then it was still being called Man of Steel too.
Mhm.
So I guess originally when they were starting it, they probably thought of it as that. But I mean, they directly this happened like right after Man of Steel, or like that starts the conflict, I guess,
Mhm.
because they take the main like climax of Man of Steel and drop it at the very beginning of Batman vs Superman. So storyline wise, it's still like Man of Steel, but because Christopher Nolan's done with the Dark Knight trilogy and we had to bring Superman or Batman back into it, that's why it's not a Batman movie.
Mhm.
So I feel like it's more of a Superman movie just because of the director, the plot, Martha Kent, um, and other things. But yeah,
Jonathan Kent was in there too.
he
Jonathan was in there
was.
too.
Yes.
All the Kents were back.
Yeah, that's funny how that works.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree. It feels like they started with Superman, and obviously, like uh, you said,
One of you two said it. I
yeah,
got nothing on who, but one of you said it.
it's um, it's not just Superman. It's not just Batman. They are really trying to build into doing Justice League and all of that, which made starting that we're going to make the push towards Justice League and end this movie with killing Superman an interesting choice. Um, but it felt to me all the way through like this is a Superman story pulling the Justice League together, and
Yeah.
then we're going to get Justice League stories from here.
So are they gonna go against? Oh, I guess this is a. Do you think they'll go against the main baddie is gonna be Darkseid in this?
Like I can't. I was trying to think the other day. I'm like because after I'd had the discussion with Heather because like I said she
Mhm.
never read the comics where Superman died.
Uh,
Maybe like Doomsday's the one that killed him in the comics. I know this is just how it should have ended. Like
yeah.
as soon as you decided Doomsday was going to be the enemy in this, Soups had to die.
Yes.
He really had to die. But like I'm like, why did we start there?
Right.
Why are we even starting with him? Oh, so that you can make him Jesus.
Halfway through the movie, they ran out of material and they're like, "Hey, let's just add Doomsday."
Yeah.
The movie's 2.5 hours long. They almost could have stopped. Like
Well,
seriously, like
yeah.
they almost could have stopped. They could have had the two of them team up for anything,
Mhm.
literally. Like they had their fights, and they could have made the fight scene longer, or they could have just had had Lex doing something else, still threatening his mom, but the other thing, the Superman had to go stop still being a thing. Like they could have
Yeah.
done that. Instead, they're like, let's kill Superman.
Yeah.
That might be my one thing is like they had a great card in Doomsday.
Mhm.
That was a great one, and they're like, throw it away.
Yeah. In the last half hour of the movie.
So like, so I was thinking about like what villains there were, and after I told Heather, I'm like, this is the guy who killed Superman. Like this
Mhm.
of have anybody to kill, and that's him. And she's like, well, great, who are they going to use now? And I'm like, well, we got Darkseid. That's my vote.
Yeah.
It's my vote. It's gonna be really annoying when we have Justice League Apocalypse and we can put Justice League and X-Men together. It's gonna be weird.
Or they could bring back the
Starro?
Mortal Kombat universe.
Starro. Wait, what?
Mortal Kombat versus DC.
Oh my gosh, no. Just no. Just no, stop.
Watch the dub.
Stop. Stop right there. We have Darkseid. We have Darkseid, Starro. I thought Mongol.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he could at least put up a fight against Superman. Like
Yeah.
but I was like, they literally killed one of the great options for someone that the Justice League would have to actually fight together.
Yes.
I guess they
Yes.
already killed. They already killed General Zod. So
Yes.
before Michael Shannon gets too old to look like he did in Man of Steel, let's use his body to make Doomsday.
He's a dying corpse. He's a dead corpse. We have all the time in the world. Because before we turn him into Doomsday, we make him look like a rotting corpse.
Right.
No one will notice.
This movie,
That
man.
might have been their logic, but that would be my answer to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. My big problem with them using Doomsday isn't just they used him before they actually get the Justice League together, which is a problem. But they used him in like I said, the last half hour of the movie. It's not like the movie is about, it's Doomsday and this is awful. Which even early on would work.
Mm-hmm.
He's an afterthought. Well, when my plan didn't work, I'm going to do this instead.
But that fight scene, though. That fight's...
Complete with
not-
Lasso of Truth.
I was seriously hoping to see some Aquaman action when she was underwater and trying to get that staff.
And they made it a spear, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
That screams Aquaman.
I was waiting and it didn't happen and I was sad.
Of course it didn't happen. We're like in a puddle. It was literally deep enough for her to be submerged in.
But it's Aquaman.
She's like, oh no, the ceiling fell. Oh look, there's the spear. Like, where was Aquaman gonna come out from? Like, the dirt, he just like emerges. Hi. I've been here for years. That's why my facial hair is like this.
Have him bring some sort of like great white shark or something. Or killer
Through the
whale or
dirt?
something. Yes.
They went past the bay. That's got to be worth something.
So, I don't know. So, I don't know how to recover from that.
So speaking of characters, let's go talk about them.
Yeah, let's talk characters.
Let's talk characters. All right.
I did not
Go ahead.
like Batman and Superman's whiny characters. Like, literally the whole time, Batman's like, oh, yeah, I'm so sad, and my parents died, and blah, blah, blah. And then Superman's like, oh, I'm terrible, nobody likes me anymore, blah. And then they fight. I don't know, that's just kind of how I felt. And it kind of bugged me a little bit. And then there's Wonder Woman that's like, hey, I'm here, I'm beating up everybody, why don't you guys put your big boy panties on and come help me. So
Why do you have big boy panties, Bundy? Why do you have them?
my mind stopped working halfway through that sentence. So
Clearly.
but I don't know, I didn't like the Henry Cavill, he is okay as Superman. He's no Brandon Routh. I think is my favorite Superman out of the ones in recent history.
Really?
Yeah. Superman Returns.
I know which one he is.
Okay.
I think
But
he's a better Atom than he is Superman, but whatever.
that's just my opinion. And then Batman. That I liked the fact they went for like this older, I've been through it all already Batman, and like there
Mhm.
was already a bunch of plot, like the Joker was already either dead or something. I'm not sure
In
how
Arkham,
far.
they'd at least fought him
Yeah,
before.
Arkham.
Yeah.
Yes. And I don't know how he's done a lot, so he's kind of knowledgeable at this point. It's not like Batman Begins, Batman coming
Yeah.
back, but
I did think it was an interesting choice to start with, Batman, who's been doing this for 20 years, in the movie that's setting up the Justice League.
yeah,
So, I mean, that wasn't the only weird decision that they made, in my opinion.
yeah,
Again, with the whole death of Superman.
I don't know,
yeah.
we can all agree, even me who really really like this movie, they made a lot of weird decisions.
Agreed.
we
Yes.
can we can there's there are a few things we can agree on. That's one of them.
Yeah.
Uh, Specifically when it came to Batman, though, I
All the
really
dreams.
one. Want to start here. I think Ben Affleck did a phenomenal job as playing the Batman that he was given.
Yes.
I was like, regardless of what we think about the decisions that they made for the character of Batman in this one, Ben Affleck's performance was phenomenal.
Agreed.
Yes. Yes. I can agree with that.
Okay, so now we've all agreed on something.
Again.
Let's say some controversial things. So, my biggest problem, I had two huge problems with what they did with Batman, and I think they were the only problems I had with Batman. Okay, one was that he was killing people.
Yeah, that's not his usual MO, is it?
I'm
Not
like,
usual.
he's literally got one rule. Literally one rule. Like the branding thing, I was like, okay, that's kind of dark. I don't know how I feel about that. But, well, at least he's not killing people. Oh, nope, never mind. Scratch
Maybe he
that.
wasn't actually killing them. He was just mortal or like wounding them to the point where they're almost dead but not dead.
Like, it's always been Batman's MO. Like, go
Yeah.
ahead.
That goes back to doing the older Batman. They were pulling heavily on that from Frank Miller's The Dark Knight,
Mm-hmm.
or The Dark Knight Returns.
The Dark Knight
Technically, it's the
Returns
first.
was the first one.
Yeah.
There's three.
Yes. And it
I've only
starts
read
with Returns.
Yeah, I've only read Returns, so.
But Batman is much darker than that one, including the branding is from that. And I believe, it's been a little while since I've read it, but I believe he kills in that one also.
See, I don't remember him killing anybody in it. I'll have to look at it again. But at least in The Dark Knight Returns, he might in the later ones, but at
Yeah.
least in Dark Knight Returns, I don't remember him killing anybody.
I don't remember where exactly. But I know, I mean, he has killed in the comics before, even in standard continuity, though not very often, certainly.
Okay, I'm getting. Eros Bastion has chimed in saying that he stabbed a guy with his own knife in the warehouse, and it looked like it was in his heart or at least close to his heart. So maybe he did.
Mm-hmm.
So one, thank you, Eros, for that. But like again, yeah, like we going into this, any of us who knew Frank Miller's Dark Knight
Mm-hmm.
knew they were going to be pulling from that. That's where the suit comes from. That's where the mech suit
Right.
is,
Right.
which was kind of sweet. But like it I guess it's one thing for in the comics if he did kill a guy by stabbing him. Like that's one thing when you're in the middle of a fight. It's another thing to start mowing people down with machine guns on the front of your Batmobile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, one happens in the middle of the fight, the other one happens because you're like, nope, screw you guys! So, like, when he clearly blew all those people to crap there at the end, when he
Mhm.
saved Martha Wayne, I was like, I'm okay with that. Because Bats even says, he's like, because the guy's like, I'll kill her. I'm going to do it.
Martha Kent, by the way.
She's good. She was good. But like, the guy's like, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him. He's like, it's unfortunate for you, but I believe you. And you're like, well, that guy's screwed. But like,
Yeah.
there was a, this guy's gonna do something that I can't undo.
Hmm.
So I've got to do it. I've got to do it. That one I was okay with because I'm like, he had to. He had to. There was no other option. He's driving a freaking tank, and these people have machine guns. The bullets are bouncing off of it, and he's like,
Yeah.
I was like, no, that I had a problem with. And like you said, it came from Frank Miller's Dark Knight, who is much darker. Again, which is why I was fine with the branding, not
Hmm.
still not fine with the outright just murder. But that one aside, they went the route of like making this like the smartest Batman we've seen so far.
Uh-huh.
Like, he's the detective. He's getting all this crap down on everybody. He's figuring out Luthor's plan, but he can't figure out Luthor's plan? Like, he knows Luthor's scheming, right?
Hmm.
Like, this entire time he's investigating Luthor, and he knows he's scheming, and yet he's still getting played?
Well, he's kind of he was affected emotionally from Superman, so he had the revenge on his mind for that. At least this is how I was reading it.
Hmm.
And so his focus was finding out this. He knew about the kryptonite on the white, what was it? Portuguese?
Yeah.
That's right. And so he was focused on getting that because he wanted it as backup in case Superman would go evil. And he just happened to have Luthor basically control him so he could get that because he was basically blindsided at that point. At least that's how I read it.
Yeah. For me, one of the things I agree that was an issue, but one of the things that I noticed that helps counteract that a little bit was that this was also the smartest Lex Luthor they've had on film.
Really?
You've
If you
not
look
seen
at some of the
you
stuff
haven't
he
seen the old
does,
Superman movies, have you?
Australia. No.
if you look at some of the stuff he does, he's doing things that are smart to the point of insane. That's basically the way they took the character. And okay, you know, that's going to have other issues, and we could talk about whether that was a good idea or not later. Um, but that does play up against Bruce Wayne is smarter also.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things of like, to me, and my problem is like, I'm used to like the Justice League cartoon series versions of
Mm-hmm.
all these characters, and so like I'm still fine. I'm still fine when like this is obviously supposed to be darker. Everything's dark. It's fine. That's fine with me.
Yeah.
But like, Bats is still always able to keep his head, to keep, excuse me, to keep like he's investigating this and this and this all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's actively investigating Luthor. And I guess it bothers me that he just like he gets blindsided by what was clearly some being like heartstring, heartstring, heartstring. And it's like, stop, Bats! Stop! You're smarter than this. Also, briefly, while we're talking about Bats, Jeremy Irons was an amazing Alfred.
All I could
Yes.
picture with Scar, though, I couldn't do it. Like, he's talking and that's all I hear.
I didn't even realize that he was Scar until you sent me that text. I didn't even notice.
Oh.
The only thing I'll have to say about Jeremy Irons is, like, he seemed a little young
Yeah.
compared to Ben Affleck's Bats.
Yeah. They were much closer in age than they should have been.
Maybe that's the Batman and Alfred from Gotham.
One, that scrawny little kid on Gotham right now grows up to be huge, apparently. And actually, oh, shoot, who's the guy that plays him on plays Alfred on Gotham?
I can't think of his name.
Either way, now that I think about it, that could just be Jeremy Irons could just be an older version of that guy. It kind of looks it.
Yeah.
So I could see it. That was literally my only problem with that. I'm like, you are a bit young, aren't you? I'm like, did he hire you on later? How did that interviewing process go? He's like, so what is your feelings about vigilantes? Are you good with tech? I see here you were a field medic. Can you also make arms? Great. Like, what is... Oh, and, what is your recipe for crumpets? Like, I don't know! Like,
Yeah.
if he wasn't with the family the entire time, I don't know how Bats found a Diggle.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't Alfred in the Bat Jesus dream sequence?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Like, he seemed to be, but I didn't recall actually seeing his face.
Trying to remember.
So, like, you have someone holding little young Bruce's hand, and when he runs away, you hear someone yell, Master Bruce, a couple times, but you never see him.
Fair.
And so I was like, either we had this 15-year-old butler, or like that's just how it felt. Felt like he was a little young, but that's obviously a minor complaint because Jeremy Irons did an amazing job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I hated the one line from the trailer. The one line from the trailer, and after this I'll probably get off the whole Bats issue because I minus my issues with it, I loved him. He's great. And I'm looking forward to him being the Bats for the Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
In the trailer and in the movie, if there is even a 1% chance that he is our enemy, we have to kill him. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? Batman would have said. I said this to someone and they were like, that's. And I'm like, no. What Batman would have said is, if there is even a 1% chance that he could be our enemy, then we have to be ready for that contingency.
Yes.
He would have said something more along those lines and not been like, we have to kill him now! Kill him now!
Yeah. It would have been a better line for Luthor.
What?
It would have been a better line for Luthor.
Yeah.
If they presented that as his reasoning, that would have been totally acceptable.
Truth.
Yeah, that would have been perfect. That sounds like Luthor.
Yeah.
That sounds like the Luthor we all know and love to hate. Like, but instead they were like, Batman's gonna get rid of this guy because he might be an enemy.
Yeah.
And he will share emails with the hot chick because she might be an enemy too that lives forever.
Yeah.
So, okay, those were my problems with Batman, but after I like disconnect the problems that I have with a preconceived Batman who won't kill people, and making him an 11th level intellect instead of a 12th level intellect or something, so Luthor can kind of outsmart him. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like, after I'm like, okay, he's not quite this, but he's closer to this than we've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this might be my favorite Batman. Like, he might be my favorite live-action Batman. I'm gonna specify that
That's a good specification.
because Kevin Conroy is probably gonna forever be the greatest Batman. But okay, I'm off of Batman. We're off of Batman now. Unless someone else wants to chime in on something Batman, we'll move to another character.
How about the whole Lois Lane thing? This movie. A lot of people complained that they didn't really use her at all in Man of Steel,
Mm-hmm.
and she still was more of a plot device in this one more than most. But I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of, hey, we're in the middle of the desert getting something, and we're moving the plot along. I love Amy Adams. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
But
I love Amy Adams too.
you have a Heather.
Shh, I'm allowed to look. That's fine. No. On that note, because I sound like terrible man whore when I say that. When me and her went to see Wolverine Origins, and when naked Hugh Jackman jumps off that waterfall, there was literally an audible from her. So I'm allowed to look.
Okay.
Anyway, now the internet knows something really. Nobody tell Heather I told you I was that. Okay. We all know the internet will be kind. Anyway, like even in the comics, like how much is Lois not just a plot device, really?
Fair.
Yeah.
Like, and like you can make an argument like this is another one of those paternalistic feminist issues, whatever, I don't know. But really, what point does Lois have in a superhero movie? Like the movie is literally about, like, you could probably make a movie about Lois. In all fairness, you could probably,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
there's gonna be a lot of points where Superman swoops in, saves her, and leaves again, but like there's probably enough going on in her life that you could make a movie out of it if
Or a
you
miniseries.
desire to. But in a movie about Batman, Superman, and in some tiny way Wonder Woman, how many main characters do we need?
Yeah.
I mean, that's my response to that. Probably going to be called some bad names now for having those responses, but
Maybe. Well, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something important, and I forgot what it was. It wasn't
okay,
important.
well, you just think on that.
What did you say just before? You said, "Oh gosh." Skip it. Go on.
Also, I just thought of another villain that they could actually use who would require the Justice League.
Mm.
And that'd be Brainiac.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. The other thing they can do, of course, would be Injustice League, and just get a huge group of villains.
Yeah, I'm just not sure how that will play out in a movie.
Not well.
Yeah, like everyone's already complaining about how much is going on in this one, just how much is going on. Like
you only have 3 heroes and 2 villains.
Yeah. Like I don't even want to fathom what it would look like if you try to have the Injustice League.
The only way you could do that is if you set up every individual villain with every individual hero.
Yeah.
And then brought them all together. You bring the heroes together to do Justice League. You bring the villains together to do Injustice League. They fight on screen.
Well, I mean, technically we're gonna have Suicide Squad, so we'll
Mhm.
have all those villains.
Yeah, though most of them are not going to be fight the Justice League caliber.
No, they're not. Not even kind of. But
I've heard that Ben Affleck's actually going to be in that one. I don't
mhm.
I've
remember if
heard
that
that
was just a
also.
rumor. Okay.
I think if you even just watch the trailer, you see Batman in one of the Suicide Squad trailers.
Do
You
you?
see Batman.
I think that's
Okay.
true.
I think at one point he's trying to apprehend one of them.
Probably Harley.
It's probably how the movie starts. Uh, so I mean, okay, we hit Batfleck.
Hmm.
We now hit Lois.
Yeah.
Can we?
If you ever figure out what you were going to say, we can come back to it. I promise.
Oh no, I was going to move on about how much it bugged me that, hey, Batman, I'm fighting you, Superman. Oh wait, we gotta save Martha. What did you say? Oh, our moms have the same name. Ah, we're best friends now. Let's go fight.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna start with this. If we're gonna talk about that, if we're not talking about characters anymore, we're gonna talk about that. Am I the only one that this was the first time I realized their moms had the same name?
You didn't know that?
Like somewhere in my mind, if you would have asked me, "Hey, what is Superman's parents' name?" I'd be like, "Oh, they're this." And you'd be like, "Okay, what's Batman's parents' names?" "Oh, they're this." And never the two should meet because one of them is dead.
Right.
Fair.
But so like, it was just a connection that I never saw. And so when Soups is like, "You have to save Martha," my mind almost exploded. I'm like, what? Like I couldn't for a moment I couldn't fathom the fact. I'm like, when they wrote these characters, was that the only girl name they could come up with?
It could be really dear to whoever wrote the original story. It could have been like their wife or their mom or something.
Well,
Maybe
right,
that
but
was the case when they wrote Superman, and then that changed by the time that they wrote Batman, which was a couple years later, and
right,
that's why she gets killed.
yeah. They got a divorce. It was messy. Like, you know what? Screw you. She ran off with some guy named Thomas. Oh my gosh! And thus Batman was born. So okay, I'm sorry. Okay, apparently I was the only one. Wait, maybe. No, nope. Eros Bastion is with me too. He says I didn't make that realization until that scene either, and I had a holy hell moment when I made that connection. And I think it must have been lost on you guys because like somewhere along the line you'd already made that connection.
Hmm.
But like
Hmm.
for someone who like me, I'm like I knew it, but I never made the connection. That was actually a super powerful moment. And it's like it's because like before anything else, whenever Bats looked at Superman, he saw a potential threat.
Yeah.
Nothing more, nothing less. And then he's like, "You have to save Martha." And Bat's first instinct has to be, "How do you know what my mother's name is?"
Hmm.
And he's like, "Are you mocking me now?" Like it's gotta be. His mind is going to his mother, to the traumatic experience that fuels his entire vigilantism. And then Lois runs up and is like, "That's his mother's name." And now this threat has a mom.
Hmm.
Like this threat is not just alien. He is alien. He's an alien, but
Hmm.
he's not just this alien invader who, brings trouble and destroys things. It's a guy with parents. And so like it's not so much that like Bats is now like, okay, we're best friends.
Hmm.
Your mom and my mom have the same name? Oh my gosh.
That's how
BFFs.
it felt. That's how it felt. Granted, I didn't have the same realization. I knew it already, so I guess that does make it a little different.
Yeah, like I think it is fair. I think the problem is you could argue that the problem with that scene is like so much rided on, excuse me, you not making that realization before that point.
Yeah.
Because you experiencing that realization along with Batman is what would have made you been like, oh, okay, and now it's okay because you're like, it's almost shocked Batman out of this emotional rage he was in beforehand
Mhm.
into like, oh wait, I'm a genius. Let me think this through.
hmm I think that scene would have worked better if Batman hadn't already won.
Right.
I mean, I get that realization is what takes Batman off the warpath long enough to figure things out.
Hmm.
But I feel like, especially since it really feels, you get the sense from Ben Affleck's acting
Hmm.
that Batman interprets that at first, before Lois explains, as Superman is mocking him.
Right.
And
I
I'm
think,
pretty sure from that point, he would have killed him,
like,
not
I think,
talked about it.
yeah, I think it was only the issue of like, I think the real issue was if you look at it from Batman's perspective, if if this alien who you're afraid of and you're getting ready to kill is mocking you by throwing your mother's name at you,
hmm
being a 12th level intellect, you want to be like, excuse me, I'm wearing a mask. You shouldn't know who I am, let alone what my parents' name is.
To
Are.
be fair, his mask had been practically destroyed at that point. You could
Right.
totally tell who he was.
Right. But but still it was the issue of like, if this guy knows who I am and who my parents were, then I need to know why. And so it might have been like, I need to know who else knows.
hmm
Because if you're viewing this guy as a threat, solely a threat, because he's an alien, he's got alien buddies, they like to come in, get drunk, blow up the town. Like, who else have you told? Who else knows who I am? Like, it could have been that. It was the shock of hearing his mother's
hmm
name after what was it, like 40 years or 30, however old he is.
Yeah.
It's like,
I still think it would have been better if Superman hadn't already lost. You know, losing, sure, but I mean, if he didn't say that there, Batman kills him,
right.
and I feel like that needed to come out sooner than that.
I
Even
mean,
if
no, go
he
ahead.
says the name and then Batman takes him to that spot
Hmm.
to interrogate him, that's different than Batman is already standing on his throat to kill him when he says it.
I guess the issue would have been though if Soups would have said that any earlier,
hmm
how well would have Bats have been able to focus to actually get Soups to that point? Like, yeah. Like
hmm
you're probably right, and they probably should have had it come out sooner. But from a storytelling perspective, how do you now get Bats, who is no longer level-headed,
hmm
because you could argue he wasn't level-headed the whole time,
Wow.
but who was level-headed about this fight,
hmm
who and is now emotionally compromised to beat Superman to the point where he can interrogate him.
hmm
So I guess that's the issue. It's like, well, we should have said sooner. Well, then Bats would have been the one on the ground. And Zeus would have been like, great, now that you're there, I need your help,
Yeah.
you stupid bat.
So I mean, they could have even started. I think they could have gone as close to that as when Batman picks up the spear.
Right.
And let's face it, with that spear out, Superman had lost.
Yeah.
But before he's actually, on the ground, Batman is effectively in the process of killing him.
Right.
That felt a little bit, late.
I guess that just goes back to the whole like it goes back to that moment that you guys didn't have that some of us did. And I guess it just goes back to that because if it would have come any sooner, then it probably would have had that same impact on those of us who had it. Because it would have been like, save Martha. Well, also, you would have been able to tell what Superman was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Superman would have had to have been like, save Martha. He'd have been like, look, you can kill me, but you at least have to promise to save Martha.
Mm-hmm.
Who's Martha? It's my mother. That would have been it. Fight would have stopped.
That's effectively what happens.
Yeah, but the difference is, but that's what I'm saying. Like, instead of having the full fight scene that we've all been waiting for, that they hyped the movie on, you would have had pop, 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 bam, bathroom sink. Wait. Save my mother. Her name is Martha. What? Oh, you got mom? Oh, well, shoot. And that would have been the end of it.
I think they could have actually done the whole movie without the Batman versus Superman fight. They just,
They
he shows
totally
up,
could have, but then they couldn't call it Batman versus
and it's
Superman.
done. Yeah,
So,
and I'm not saying that. I totally get they needed to fight and have all of that. But I feel, again, I feel like the timing was just a little bit late. Not very much late. Because, like you say, too soon and the whole fight gets stopped.
yeah. So, I mean, I guess it's fair. I guess it's fair. I disagree, but I believe it's fair. It's a fair point, though. So, Bundy, do you have an opinion?
Not nothing that I've already said. So I mean, yeah, it kind of bugged me how it was just a sudden switch because we're fighting, and then we're not. It
I mean,
was just like,
we live in a very binary world. I hate to let you know this.
and yeah, and if they would have done it much earlier, I think, as you might have said, Batman wasn't in the right frame of mind. Oh, you gotta save my mom, Martha. She's not your real mom. You're dead. Oh.
Yeah, like there could have been a lot of ways that if you would have had that come out any sooner, it might not have. Like everything now, this is how you end up with alternate timelines. Like this, it's in one universe, Soup shows up and's like, "Yo, Bats, I need your help. My mom's been kidnapped." What? And then no fight happens.
Right.
And then Soups goes, grabs Luthor, and like dangles him up there on LexCorp, while Bats goes, murders a bunch of people, and saves Martha. And then in another version, Superman just kills Batman. Like there's a lot of ways this fight could have gone,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I like the way it went personally.
I might feel differently seeing it again. I've only seen it the one time.
I'm the only one who's seen it twice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I need a life.
Like I went and saw it once for free. I thought that was good enough.
I live literally, my house is a block from my movie theater, so yeah.
Yeah, I go to the movies too much then too.
Yeah.
Granted, it's a one-screen theater, so
Right.
So it's not like you have options either.
exactly.
That's why you're seeing it twice, though. You don't have
Yeah.
options. But so
Gosh.
okay, so you hate the conclusion of that fight scene.
Mhm.
It's fine, I guess.
I wouldn't say I hate it. I felt like it was too late.
Sorry, I was talking to Bundy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
It left much to be desired. That's how that's the best way to put it. There were a lot of things, as I said, that kind of bugged me. For example, all the dream scenes that Batman has. Um,
Let's talk about those dream scenes, shall
Yeah.
we?
let's move to that. Seemed to be the
What?
transition today. Um, we've already talked about Bat Jesus rising from the well.
Mhm.
Um, but the other one, I don't remember if there were more than just the two, was the post-apocalyptic one where
Bat
um,
Antichrist.
Bad Antichrist, yeah, and Superman, drops Batman into this cave, and
Starts
yeah,
ramming people.
yeah.
So,
Oh,
oh, go ahead.
oh, and then right after that is when you see the Flash and this like, hey, you gotta save her. Lois Lane's the key. Oh wait, am I too late? Crap.
And
Am I
then he
too
wakes
early?
up again.
Yeah. So I don't know if that was real or what was
And
going
that's what me and Heather argued about.
on. The fact that they brought in the guy who was playing the Flash later, I guess that kind of. I didn't realize who it was the first time.
Mm.
Neither did I, because it's not your standard Flash costume.
Yeah.
He was like the costume that it showed him in was all I could. I don't know if that one shows up in the comics because I don't read Flash.
Mm.
Sorry, I get my Flash knowledge from the CW's Flash and from Justice League
Mm.
and a little bit from Infinite Crisis back when that was a thing. Still sad
Ah,
that it's
yeah.
gone. But in Infinite Crisis, they had a an alternate skin that was like hypersonic Flash,
Mhm.
and that's what his suit looked like. I was
Yeah.
like, that's dubba, hababa, and like, so yeah, we argued about um whether or not that was a dream or whether that was real. I've landed on it's real,
Mhm.
Mhm.
uh, because one, it's a great setup.
Yeah.
Two, it's you get this wonderful like we went back and forth on like it would have been very strange for Batman to have pictured the Flash, the actual Flash,
Yeah.
since the stuff hadn't finished decrypting yet.
Mhm.
Like that's quite a coinkydink. Admittedly, he came through that portal. It was all distorted and making portal sounds, and I could barely tell what the crap he said.
Yeah, I listened the second time. That's the only reason I know what he said.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because yeah, I made a point to listen, and he's like, "Well, Lois Lane, she's the key." Oh, am I too early? Oh, am I too early? And
Okay,
then
so he says, "Am I too early?" Okay.
yeah,
Mhm.
Okay, so the question is, does this happen again?
Presumably.
Like, is that what the final Justice League movie is gonna be? Is some bad guy kidnaps Lois and gets Soups to fight against the Justice League?
He
Because
is one of the few
I'm gonna be
characters
at
that
least a
sticks out.
little annoyed.
huh?
So I'm not sure what other if we take that to not just be a dream,
Mhm.
and we take the statement, "Am I too early?" to mean not, "Oh, I should have been here in a couple of days,"
Uh-huh.
instead of, "Oh, I am way the balls too early."
Hmm.
My movie hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, I don't even exist yet. What? Like, then it would seems to presume that something happens because someone gets a hold of Lois.
Mhm.
What happened in this movie? Lois isn't the key in this movie.
Yeah.
Martha's the key.
Mhm.
Because like whether it was Lex shoving Lois off the roof or yelling to the heavens, "Hey, Soups, I'm gonna blow up the city if you don't show up." Like,
Mhm.
Soups would have shown up.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be the Justice League movie. The Justice League's gonna have to fight Superman.
Another other option which they could get rid, or they could say was alternate timeline, like they did with the Flash series.
Yeah.
Man, don't get me started. Don't get me started on CW right now.
Yeah.
As a conversation for another cast. Cast. But as far as the dream sequences go, the one post-apocalyptic one where the giant insects were coming out of the sky.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
After we left, I looked at Heather and I was like, she was all like, yeah, all those, she had a problem with them. I'm like, well, actually, because she was talking about like maybe the one with where the Flash showed up being a dream, but being like kind of like a premonition dream or whatever.
Mm.
And I'm like, that's weird, but sure. I'm like, if we were gonna go that route, then the one with the bugs could be. And she's like, how would that even work? How would that even work? Where are we gonna get giant flying bug aliens from? I'm like, do you remember the black scarab? Like blue beetle, black beetle, all the beetles, Ringo. Like, because like we watched Young Justice not too long ago,
Mm-hmm.
which actually has blue beetle, brings in all the different colors of beetles, and it's
Yeah.
like. So when I saw all those giant flying insects, I'm like, it's the Beatles. Oh my gosh. But that was my take on that. I was really happy that all those scenes were dream scenes, though, because in the
Yeah.
trailers, I was stupid confused how they were going to reconcile this crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, so you're telling me Superman has a secret police and rips off Batman's cowl, and then presumably sometime later, because he wouldn't have been wearing the cowl, he would have been wearing the helmet when they fought,
Mhm.
they then fight. Well, that seems ridiculous. And then you go into the movie and you're like, oh, it's a dream sequence. That's fine now.
Yeah.
So I was like, at least it answers my questions with the trailer.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. The whole dream sequence thing felt a little weird to me. But definitely the weirdest part for me was the when Flash shows up, has this brief message, and then Batman wakes up.
mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't make sense for that to be a dream. But it sure doesn't look like that really happened either.
Yeah, and it's one of those things of like, I think they're wanting you to assume that, because like there's no way Bats fell asleep after that.
Right.
I mean that's like taking a shot of espresso straight in an IV. Like you're at least not gonna fall asleep immediately following.
Yeah.
And it might hurt a little bit. So my only guess is that he literally passed out.
That's
Like,
possible.
there's all this stress. There's a swirling blue portal with lightning shooting out of it, and some guy yelling at me through it. He passes out. Like, it's weird for Batman to pass out at anything,
Yeah.
but that's all I got for that. Because, yeah, there's no way he fell back asleep.
The other option is that Flash went back in time and messed with Batman's dreams.
Can Flash run into people's dreams?
Not in the comics.
Fair enough.
But that's what it looks like. to me. It looks like, the Flash, what happens with the Flash is actually something that we're supposed to assume happened. But then it still looks like it's in the dream sequence.
Right. And I think that's the point. I think that's what they want. They want you to be asking the question, well, was that real? Was it a dream?
Yeah.
And like that's the point. That's why they put it there, is so you
And
have
if,
to actually ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
and if they forget it down the road, they can be like, yeah, that was a dream.
Totally
Yeah.
irrelevant.
JK! LOL, OMG, BRB.
Yeah.
But, uh, like, yeah, the dream sequences were weird,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they were necessary because even with everything else, like without the added stress of the dreams, like you needed the stress of the dreams and to fuel Bat's paranoia about Superman.
Fair.
Because without them, you still have, again, like you
Yeah.
saw this genius who's getting duped by letters he's getting.
Yeah.
Like that, I think that's the reason for the dreams. Is like we need there's no normal way that we can fool Bats with someone who's with letters that are clearly intended to screw with him.
Mm-hmm.
But if we make him also having this anxiety from his dreams and the anxiety from having been in Metropolis when all that crap went down,
Right.
like we have all that culminate, then we can explain why this guy who's always so level-headed and a genius can't figure this out.
Mm-hmm. Can we talk about the one dream none of us has mentioned yet?
Which one
Which
is
one's
that?
When he's in the tomb with his mother and
Oh!
starts bleeding, and then the demon bursts out.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
forgot about
gosh. I think I blocked that one from my mind.
that. I remembered it earlier and I forgot to mention it, but yeah. What? I honestly I have this much knowledge about these things, so I know enough to get me through, but I have
Mm-hmm.
no idea what that was, if it was relevant or if it was some abstract thing that Zack Snyder was like, hey, let's mess with everybody.
Yeah. It felt to me um, like that did two things. One, it was an excuse to scare everybody. It was a jump scare. And two, it was an excuse to show Martha's name again. Because they, big look
That
at
is
her.
important.
Yeah.
Plot device. Oh.
And other than that, the scene does nothing.
I think it's supposed to, again, I'll admit when it comes to defending the dream sequences, like this is me playing devil's advocate because I wasn't a huge fan of the dream sequences. Some of them I enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
Others, like that one, I could have done without. One, I think you're right. I think there was something to like we need to make it clear to everyone her name is Martha.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, we'll have people who both know the characters and will already know that, and we'll have people who don't know the characters, and if they don't know this, when that moment comes at the end, they're gonna be like, why does he care? Why does he
Yeah.
care? And so like, yeah, they were probably aiming for that, but I think it was again as from a let's accept it and try and figure out why. It's an attempt to show it's there to show like how tortured Bats is because most media kind of sweep that under the rug. They're
Mhm.
like, oh, he's tortured, he had a bad childhood and bad life, and that's why he's now a vigilante who fights criminals.
Mhm.
And like they bring it out whenever they need to do something dark,
Yeah.
and then they shove it in a corner again when they're like, let's make this more lighthearted, right? It doesn't be like this all the time. And it was trying to show, look, this is something that he is always there with him. He's always struggling with. It's like he doesn't just have nightmares about, the day the gods came and destroyed everything.
Mhm.
He's got nightmares about, you know, the other time he was powerless and couldn't do anything.
Right. Which makes it interesting to then portray the demon coming out of his mother's grave, not, you know, a lot of, like, in the comics, when they need to show Batman being being tortured, um, will have imagery of him being put in the grave with his parents,
Right.
not stuff coming out.
It's survivor's guilt. I mean, again, like I'm literally playing devil's advocate for the
Yeah,
dream sequences. Like
yeah, I get that.
that one specifically, yeah, it seems more like a plot device than anything else. I think the other thing they need there is, and it goes back to plot device, is if they're gonna have a dream sequence that you're not sure is a dream sequence, a la
Hmm.
Flash, they need to give you a lot of dream sequences
Yeah,
so that you can be like, okay, was this real or was this just another dream?
yeah,
And so they're like, well, we've used a lot of Superman dreams. Let's give him another one. And yeah, survivor's guilt, I guess. So they're also in a freaking mausoleum. So,
yeah.
but I guess it's where rich people get buried. I don't know. So, all right. So, any other thoughts on dream sequences? No. Okay. Um. Well, I'm gonna steer us back to the characters at
Hmm.
least one last time.
Hmm.
Uh. So Jesse Eisenberg and Lex Luthor. We kind of mentioned it and
Hmm.
didn't talk about it. There might be a reason for that, but I will say this before we start complaining about everything. Jesse Eisenberg played the part he was given very well.
Yes.
And like I think that's the biggest thing with this movie is like there were a lot of character decisions for a lot of characters I
Yeah.
didn't agree with, but the actors really did an amazing job with the characters they were given.
Yes.
So, with that out of the way, what are your all's thoughts on Lex? Today, Bundy.
I he what I he despite him being highly intelligent from the I don't know, he just the psychotic overtook the intelligence and it just made me not like him, and other than the fact that he reminded me of um other um certain people that are not myself that um yeah, anyway.
Andy Bundy, ladies and gentlemen. This is why he's on the podcast to just mumble about things and not make any full sentences.
You haven't reached Stoner Bunny level yet. We're not there yet.
It's only 8:30.
I
Wake up.
know. Exactly. But
Go get a soda. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm trying to figure out the best. I don't know. I didn't like Lex. I preferred like Superman 1 and 2's Lex Luthor. I don't remember his actor's name,
That's fine.
but um, there are a lot of creative decisions that I wouldn't, and I don't know if that's par for like what the comic book version like of Lex compared to um the Dark Knight that they're using currently, if that's the personality that they chose, if it was par for the course, is again, I haven't read them.
Mhm.
So I'm like, I didn't like it. And I don't know why I don't like it, other than the fact that he's just kind of out there and just kind of the spoiled brat kid from a German immigrant. Um, Inherited a lot of money. I don't know. I didn't like it. He didn't seem like someone who was a worthy rival of Superman
Or Batman.
or Batman. So
Eric, what is your thought? Like you've already mentioned that you think that this is the smartest Lex we've ever had. So what are your thoughts on this Lex as the character?
Personally, um, I have to disagree with Bundy. I liked Lex. It's not the traditional Lex Luthor. Um, that's very much the case. He's much more psychotic
yes,
than Lex Luthor is traditionally or pretty much anywhere else. Um, he's also much younger than Lex usually is, uh, which is an interesting choice. Um, but I personally, I liked the slightly more psychotic Lex Luthor. They're doing a darker tone for Superman. In Man of Steel, they did, Superman kills Zod. In this, I mean, they paired Superman with Batman, and one of the darkest Batmans that we've had on screen. And so having Lex be a little bit more psychotic, especially when he had to balance, going up against both Superman and Batman, um, seemed like a reasonable choice, if different. And again,
that's
go ahead.
that's the one thing that bugged me because he felt more like the Joker rather than Lex Luthor.
Mm,
Because the Joker is intelligent and psychotic, but mostly psychotic. Lex is intelligence with a little bit of psychosis in there.
mm,
So I don't know. I just feel like it wasn't balanced right.
yeah, and they did definitely stray into Joker territory with some of the things that Lex did. That is
Mhm.
absolutely true. And that's something I'll be interested to see what Jared Leto's Joker does, which is the Joker of this universe. Um, how that compares to the psychosis that Lex showed here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but it felt to me like they were playing on Lex Luthor, especially as the bratty son of a German immigrant,
Mm-hmm.
was at the point where was smart enough to not know when to stop, and that led him to be insane
Mm-hmm.
because that's generally what happens to people like that. Yeah, I don't know. I liked it.
What did you
So
think about it?
I'm a little torn on it. Uh, because like Eros tweeted at me, I've liked a little less crazy and a little more straight up smarts. But at the same time, like looking looking at Lex and how he was portrayed, yeah, like I'm again, like my problem is that I'm defaulting to
Mhm.
the way that I know all these characters. So for me, Lex Luthor is a egomaniacal 12th level intellect
Mhm.
who has the charm and wits to get his way.
Yes.
This universe's Lex is powerful and rich and probably needs to be prescribed some Adderall.
Mm.
And it's just like there's this disconnect between who I know these characters to be and what I'm seeing on the screen. That said, and this is why when I did my review of it, I was like, you have to take these characters as just one of the multiverse versions of these characters, because otherwise, this movie could be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't look at these as a different multiverses version of these characters, the movie is terrible. Because Bats ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
Soups can't doubt himself that much. Lex a crazy person. Like, and you have to look at him through this way. Still, I'm still allowed to complain about the characters, though, even if I take it that way, because I still have preferences because I'm a human being.
Right.
But, I think it came down to this issue of, like, he came across as manic, and I don't think that was the intent.
Mm.
I think the intent was for him to be scattered, for him to be this person whose mind works faster than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, his mind works too fast for his mouth to keep up with, for anyone to keep up with.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he comes across as scattered and crazy, and that's why he's like, what was the line? What does Lois call him?
Psychotic.
Psychotic.
A three-syllable word for things that people don't understand.
That was the problem. I was trying to say, it was syllable, and I was trying to make it letters, and that's why I was like, nothing fits. Nothing fits. So, yeah. It's like it's an 8-syllable word for anything people can't wrap their minds around. And I'm like,
mm-hmm.
I think that was the point where they want you to see, look, he's not manic.
Mm-hmm.
Joker's manic.
Yes.
Joker's a genius and manic. All Lex really needs to come across as stable is probably some Adderall.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he might have like shoot, what's the mild autism? It's not even a thing anymore.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. That's a 3-syllable word for anything too big for little minds. That's it. But I think that's what. I guess that's a problem with either the writing or the portraying, however you want to do it. Of the goal was he's still egotistical and full of himself.
Uh-huh.
You get that part. You get that in there. You gotta look for it, but it's there. But he's more, look, I'm a genius, you're all falling behind, try and keep up.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being like, oh, I'm just your average intelligent person who's actually under the surface being like, I'm actually a genius and you're all morons. Arrow's Bastion brought up a good point. How about that grandma's peach tea, huh? How about that peach tea, everybody? I found that scene. One, the red capes are coming. The red capes are coming. I want to be, shut up. Stop. Being crazy again. Stop, Lex.
Mm-hmm.
But when they were in the hearing, and gosh, I so badly when when that thing exploded, when the whole place exploded. One, I thought it was actually a pretty powerful scene showing Superman standing there in the fire and just being distraught about what had just happened.
Hmm.
Because like he knows what's about to happen. He knows he's gonna walk out of there, and everyone's just gonna see this entire building just exploded.
Hmm.
And I was like, he knows exactly what that means for him. And I'm like, I thought that was pretty powerful. But like I think we all knew that there's something up with that chair. We all knew.
Oh yeah.
Like I didn't know what after I saw him in there in the room. I thought he was gonna blow up when he went to see the senator to begin with. Like when she walked into the room to talk with him, I thought the guy was gonna kill her there. So I thought was gonna happen.
Hmm.
And then he kept living. And she kept living. And I was like, maybe Lex is just using him as a pawn, and then he's gonna like to show this is what Superman has done, so that I can make my bullet. And then the Senate exploded. But I don't know. Like as far as Lex goes, like yeah, I would have preferred to see a more classic Lex.
Agreed.
I'll agree with you on that, Bundy.
Hmm.
But the more I've sat with Zack Snyder and Jesse Eisenberg's Lex, the more I'm like, okay, this is fine.
Yeah.
This
What
works.
it felt like to me was, like they've done with so many other classic characters, young Lex Luthor.
Hmm.
It's before he's that guy. What was he like? And you get, you see hints of who the other, who he becomes. You get he's egotistical. You get that he's brilliant. You get all of that, those things, but he's not quite as polished. He's not smooth yet. He's still trying to figure out what the best way is to use who he is to his advantage.
So I guess scene, and I don't have a problem with the idea of what they're doing. But if that's what we've seen so far is young Lex,
Hmm.
are we maybe for the Justice League movie going to see what full Lex looks like?
I think
What
that would
class?
be excellent.
That'd be interesting.
As one of the few characters, again, capable of challenging the Justice League in any way. Lex Luthor for president.
Bundy, wake up!
I'm here.
Said wake up. Look, you're falling asleep. But yeah, no, that'd be interesting to actually see Lex come back and be the villain again. I guess my only question is I don't know what he would do.
Hmm.
Like,
Well, like at the end, he after while he's in jail, he's saying something to the effect of he's coming, something like that. Like he knows that someone, possibly Darkseid, is on his way already.
Yeah. Or Starro. Could totally be Starro. I'm voting for Starro.
man, if someone has a show up, if someone world-ending shows up, I hope it's Starro. I hope it is. Do you know why? Because no one will see that coming.
It's true. It's
Darkseid,
totally true.
Darkseid seems like the most logical enemy to have show up.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if Marvel's successful with Thanos.
Exactly. Like he's almost Thanos.
Yeah.
They're practically the same.
Yeah. And Darkseid has an army. An army can come with him.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
while Soups is fighting Darkseid, everybody else is fighting his army. Like, you could literally get away with that, and that's why I hope they're like, you know what? That's too easy. I want them to say that's too easy. I doubt that they will,
Yeah,
but I can hope.
yeah.
So, all right. Well, I don't really think there's anything to say about the portrayal of Soups. It was like either you liked Man of Steel's Soups or you didn't, and however you felt about that one, I feel like you feel about this one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very consistent.
basically.
And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that. It should be that way. He's the same. You want him to be the same character throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Right, especially since this was effectively Man of Steel too.
Yeah. I guess it's just the question of you hope that considering that you were on the I love him side, because otherwise you're going to be stuck with him for however long we go.
Right.
So I guess the question is, what have we not covered?
The new Justice. I mean, other than Aquaman, because I'm really excited about Aquaman. Um,
Thoughts on the 15-second trailers in the middle of the movie?
exactly. Because we got what? We got Aquaman, Cyborg, Flash. The other one was Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And she didn't
Yeah.
get a trailer. She just got a picture.
Yeah.
Right. But then
Well, she got
she was in the climax
The whole,
at the end.
the whole movie was actually a trailer for Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember 2 or 3 years ago, we had a discussion in a certain dorm room where they were saying Aquaman could not be cool. We are now corrected. Oh,
Well, that's because he's no longer Aquaman. Now he's Namor.
fair.
Just renamed as Aquaman.
Yeah.
Like,
Which is to be fair is how he was invented in the first place. But actually I don't think that's true. I think he was first. But
I'll give him this. Like, the classic Aquaman is stupid,
yes.
and we all know this. He has the benefit of when he is at the bottom of the ocean, he is as strong as Superman,
Mm-hmm.
and that's about it. He can also talk to fishies. He could have found Nemo much faster.
Maybe he'll show up for Finding Dory.
I will quit. I will quit.
They'll help him find Dory, and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, Eros brought up a thing on Twitter. He's like, did the time where Khal Drago stare at the camera seem a bit long? He's like, what is that? What is that? What is that? What is that? I think I'm just gonna punch it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna punch it. Ugh. Like, it was a 15-second trailer of him staring at the camera.
Oh, right.
I'm like, yeah, that seemed like it went on a little too long. And I think it probably went on that long because they want you to be like, this guy's down here and breathing.
Yeah.
But they could have had him doing something. So just being like,
Yep. Oh, well. So, is it just going to be these 6 people for Justice League, or are they leaving out somebody
They're leaving out
intentionally?
Green Lantern, I think, is the one that's missing
and we're getting
from this movie.
We're getting Scott Stewart for that, right?
Is it him, or I mean the other choice that I'm thinking is Martian Manhunter?
I don't think they're doing him.
That would explain why he's not in the files, because Green Lantern would have been um, probably discovered by Lex already, being from Earth, maybe.
Well, it also could be that John Stewart might not. I called him Scott before, which was
That's
I
why
know.
I laughed.
as it came out of my mouth. I'm like, that's not right.
I thought you
We
would
went to
try,
school with that guy.
I thought you were being serious with Scott Stewart. That's why I laughed.
No, I was like, what happened? But like it could just be the case that John Stewart hasn't gotten the ring yet. That's why there's no
Yeah.
file on him, and that's what I'm gonna assume is going on.
Yeah, it could very well be.
Can't get Ryan Reynolds back as Green Lantern.
Oh darn. He's busy being Deadpool.
Yeah.
A part he was much better for.
Just like Ben Affleck's too busy being Batman to come back as Daredevil.
This might be the problem. Admittedly, I never thought the Daredevil movie was as bad as everyone else did. I never thought it was as bad as everyone else did.
Yeah.
Who else? Oh, Chris
Not
Evans
great,
too
but-
busy being Captain America that they had to reboot Fantastic Four, and you see how that turned out.
Fantastic Four has just always sucked. There's just like no way to get around it.
Yeah.
Keep trying, and it's like nobody liked it when it was just a comic. No one likes it now.
Yeah.
But whatever. Yeah. So we at least have John Stewart
Mm-hmm.
as another one. I don't know if they are even planning on anyone else.
That'd be 7 people at that point, because you got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman,
Cyborg.
Cyborg, Flash. That's 6. Then you add Green Lantern to that. That's 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
That's a lot of people.
yeah, I mean, I think that isn't that like the standard size of the Justice League.
I believe so.
That's the normal lineup now, though. Typically, Green Lantern has been Hal Jordan, not John Stewart.
Right. Was Cyborg always the standard?
No, but he is
That one-
now.
I was gonna say that one's weird.
In 2011, in the New 52 reboot, Cyborg went from Teen Titans to Justice League and has been on the Justice League since.
Okay. Because like, I guess to me like again it goes back to the thing of like my Justice League is the Justice League cartoon Justice League,
Mm-hmm.
which doesn't have Aquaman, but it has Martian Manhunter.
Right.
Doesn't have Cyborg, but it's got Hawk Girl.
Yeah.
And it does have, and that one has John Stewart. So I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
Do we know if they're doing everybody who had a file is getting a movie, right?
Yes.
I hope so.
So we're getting a Cyborg movie?
As far as I know.
Because that one's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see that one.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
See what they do with that.
I was real confused by that video, though, for Cyborg. I was like, I knew it was going to be Cyborg.
Mm-hmm.
And then crap started happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's happening? What's happening right now? He appears to be in a lot of pain. Let's keep watching. Lex, you're a sadist. End scene.
Yeah.
Like, and then now I'm so accustomed to Grant Gustin as
Mhm.
Barry Allen,
Yeah.
this new guy. I'm like, cut your hair.
Mm. It's more aerodynamic with the long hair, apparently.
No, it's not. And it would probably catch on fire. But, like Heather mentioned, she saw that and she was like, "What is Cisco doing here?"
Yeah. I did think that as well. Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't think that. I just thought, man, I miss Grant.
Grant has done an excellent job as Barry Allen in the CW show. I
Hmm.
think it would have been interesting. They chose to go with Jon Stewart over Hal Jordan when they're doing Green Lantern. I think it'd have been interesting if they'd done Wally West instead of Barry Allen for the
Right?
Flash. Who, I mean, he was the Flash for 20 years.
Yeah. Or we could have even gone. We could have gone backwards
Yeah,
and gotten shoot, what's his face? Uh, okay, I thought my phone went off.
The guy from Steampunk World.
It's not a steampunk world. Calm down. Everything just looks vintage.
yeah. Jay Garrick is who you're
Thank
thinking of.
you. Gosh.
That's what steampunk is. It's vintage, but
But I guess at that point they also would have had to gone with Alan Scott
Yeah.
for
Or they could have gone far future and done Bart Allen.
that'd have been weird. Been cool with
Yes.
it.
I mean, they had a lot of options. I feel like sticking, there's something to be said for Barry Allen is effectively the classic Flash, even though Jay Garrick was first.
Yeah, it's really weird that Barry. It's a weird thing to think about, right?
Hmm.
So like Jay Garrick was first, Alan Scott were first, and then like you said, Wally West
Hmm.
has been the Flash for a long time.
Yeah.
Jon Stewart been Green Lantern for a long time.
Hmm.
But the classics for both of those are the ones that came second:
Yeah.
Barry Allen and Hal Jordan.
I I think it's impressive that Wally West was the Flash long enough that when Barry Allen came back, they didn't change Wally West's character's name. His alias was still the Flash. There were just two of them then.
Yeah.
That and his option of not being the Flash was to go back to Kid Flash, and that has just been weird since he was very
Wasn't Kid Flash.
definitely an adult by then.
Yeah. But so I don't know. It's one of those points of like, gosh, I wish so much that we could just use Stephen Amell and Grant Gustin
Yeah,
in the movie. I wish we could. I understand why we can't.
yeah, yeah.
And there's actually more reasons than just, well, scheduling that would be miserable. There's
So it
actually
would.
it would it'd be miserable. Like it was bad enough trying to get the three of us to do this podcast.
Yeah,
Could you imagine trying to get people who actually have important jobs like filming stuff to go and film something else
at the same time.
at the same time?
So obviously Grant Gustin can do some.
Right. But like I think it's very important, and I think the big thing that DC is focusing on right now is the love that they have for the fact that they have an established multiverse that
Yes,
they can blame everything on.
yes.
Oh,
Hey,
we have shows on different networks? That's a multiverse.
yep.
Oh, we have a movie universe? That's part of the multiverse.
Hey, and it works.
It works,
I'll
and
give them that.
it's part of it, and it's part of the comics, and so you're like, okay, we
Makes
almost
sense.
kind of just need you to say it, which they're starting to do with Flash. They're being like, hey, we got a multiverse.
Yeah, Flash is doing a great job of, yeah, we've got this and this and this.
Yeah, and it's like if you watch that, all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, now I get it.
Uh-huh.
That's why these people can't be here. We're in a parallel universe.
Yep.
We're in a, we're on the same planet, which is vibrating at a different frequency, and so they don't exist on this one. Sure.
Yeah, totally happens. Makes sense. I buy it.
It's about as good an explanation as we're gonna get anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But like, yeah, from a story perspective, and the other thing I have for that is like, if you didn't separate these characters by the multiverse,
Hmm.
you wouldn't have excuses for them not showing up in other things.
Yeah.
You'd
I
have
don't think
no.
the CW can pay Ben Affleck.
I don't think CBS can pay Henry Cavill. And like I think that's what it comes down to is like you need an excuse for these characters to not keep showing up on these other things.
Mm.
Like Agents of Shield is set in the same universe as all these other
Everything
Marvel
else.
movies. But when's the last time you saw Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Hemsworth?
Yeah.
Or really anybody from the movies?
We got Lady Sif. That was about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's the thing that annoys me is like I haven't watched Agents of Shield past the pilot. I know I need to do it, but like I still know, hey, nobody shows up on this,
Yeah.
and really, between movies when there's downtime, do we have a good excuse? No.
Actually, wasn't Thor in one of the episodes, or am I dreaming that?
I have no idea. He wasn't in season 1. That's when I stopped watching.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's been a while.
I'll IMDb this right now.
I know they referenced the word. They dealt with other Asgardians in
That
at
might
least
have
2
been what
episodes.
That might have been what I was thinking then.
I know there was an episode where they were dealing with an Asgardian, and he wasn't being cooperative, and Coulson threatened him with Thor.
Mm-hmm. That could be what I was thinking of, but
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be he showed up later. I really don't know.
He's gonna be in the new Ghostbusters?
yeah, he's gonna be the secretary, the male secretary to the all-female Ghostbusters.
His name is Kevin. Just so
Yep.
you know.
That makes sense.
Which I'm really excited about that. Controversial opinion.
No, he was never on. He was never on the
Okay.
show.
It must have just been a mention then, because yeah. Oof.
But okay, so back to Bats and Soups and Wonder.
Mm-hmm.
So we've hit almost every main character.
Who we missed?
We never actually talked about Wonder Woman.
It's true.
Come on, Bundy. Wake up.
Oh, look, some soup.
That's what happened, wasn't it? That's what happened. Middle of this movie, you were like, "Do I smell soup?" And you walked out as Wonder Woman entered the field. That's why you hate this movie.
No, Wonder Woman was alright. They didn't mention her name really at all, except for one assumed Miss. What's her last name?
Prince.
Prince. Yes.
Yeah.
Fun
And the
fact-
double W's
Yeah.
in Lex Luthor's files.
That too. It was either going to be in the new Wonder Woman movie or in this one. Linda Carter was actually supposed to cameo in it, but she couldn't because she was doing a tour. So, fun fact.
I
She
think
was supposed to be like her mom or something.
Linda Carter is supposed to do a cameo on Supergirl.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
I don't think it's not as Wonder Woman, but
Yeah, I love Linda Carter though.
So Bundy, you didn't like Wonder Woman?
I did better than Superman and Batman.
I liked her better than the main characters.
Yeah,
Main characters were on screen too much.
not what I said. They were just whiny the whole time.
They're having bad days. The movie is literally a bad day.
Ooh.
Just a series of bad. All right. Anyway, Eric, what do you think of Wonder Woman?
It's hard to say. I mean, I liked
Of
what I
what you
saw.
saw. Of what you saw. What do you think of Wonder Woman?
I liked it. There was no explanation for anything, which obviously is, she didn't get a 15-second trailer. She got a 10-minute trailer at the end, and she was fighting with the other two characters. Um, so I'm really curious to see what they do in the actual Wonder Woman movie. Um, but it looks to me like they're off to a good start.
Yeah, I was gonna say personally, I believe looking at the Wonder Woman they gave us in the movie,
Uh,
I believe that she was molded out of clay and had life breathed into her. Because if I were able, if I could sculpt, dear goodness, that's what she'd look like. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, and I sound like a pig.
yes.
Uh, yeah, I'm allowed to look. It's fine. One, after hearing how strong her accent is in an interview,
Hmm.
I was amazed by how good she sounded in the movie.
Yeah.
Because she has a very strong and thick accent that makes her, for me, a little a little harder to understand.
Hmm.
And you didn't have that problem in the movie.
Yeah.
Granted, she didn't talk a whole lot in the movie, but when she did, it was all very clear. I really liked what they did with her because the point of the movie was that she wasn't supposed to be a main character.
Hmm.
They needed her. They needed her for the Doomsday fight, and they needed someone to be there already. When Bats is like, "Hey, we need a team," at the
Yeah.
end. When he was like, "Hey, we're gonna need this team," like
Hmm.
that meant someone had to be there.
Hmm.
And Wonder Woman is the logical choice because everybody already knows who Wonder Woman is.
Right.
Yeah,
I
I
would
feel
still have liked at least a little bit of introduction.
and like that's fair.
At least afterwards.
Yeah, they should have done the Wonder Woman origin movie first.
But I think that's the point. Is like
Mhm.
one they don't want to be Marvel. They don't
Yeah.
want Marvel to be like, you're copying us. That's totally what they're doing.
Right. Which
But
is weird because normally it's the other way around.
you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's because this time Marvel actually managed to get something right first. So like, I think it was more this issue of like they want like this movie already has Batman's origin story in it.
Hmm.
We don't need Wonder Woman 2, but what we can do is
Hmm.
we can introduce Wonder Woman and we can build the mystery around Wonder Woman so that this whole movie basically becomes the commercial for the Wonder Woman movie.
Right. I totally agree with that. I feel like they missed they never actually introduced Wonder Woman. We see her. We see her do a lot of stuff, but they never introduced her. Even at the end when she's talking to Bruce at the funeral. Something.
Yeah, so I mean, I agree. There should have, at some point, the fact that her name was Diana could have come up.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'll give you that. At some point, they could have been like, "Oh, Diana Prince,"
Yeah.
because
Or
admittedly, until this movie, I didn't know her last name was literally Prince.
yeah.
Didn't know that.
It's because it's from the newer Wonder Woman, not the original.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the newer Wonder Woman, she actually has a last name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I'll grant you both of that. They could have given us a little more about Wonder Woman, or a little something about, hey, this is Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But I think, as I said before, like they bank so heavily on like You know who Wonder Woman is. You don't know who this woman is
Mm-hmm.
until we get to the picture,
Right.
and now you're like, oh, that looks like Wonder Woman.
Yeah. And I was good with that. Uh, Going up through, we don't find out that she's Wonder Woman until Bruce Wayne does, or Batman does. That's fine. I just wanted, at some point, that to be confirmed. I mean,
Yeah.
not just in what we see, but identify her as this is Wonder Woman.
And I think that's the thing is like the entire movie really, other than like the few parts that are from like you have like those shots
Mm-hmm.
that are from Lois's perspective, and you have those couple shots that are from Diana's perspective.
Uh,
The movie in and of itself is framed around uh, Bats and Soup's perspective,
yes.
and so like there was so much focus on that since Bats didn't get an introduction, Soups didn't get an introduction, so we don't
Mm-hmm.
get an introduction.
Right. But
So like yeah, I see what you're saying. I can understand your complaint and your desire for it. I disagree. I don't think this is important, but I can definitely see where that critique would come from.
well, and especially given the whole first half of the movie, before we see Wonder Woman be Wonder Woman,
Hmm.
Batman sees Superman be Superman and says, that's a problem, he needs to die. And then Wonder Woman shows up as Wonder Woman, and he's totally cool with that. We should make a team.
I think yeah. Again, the whole concept of Bats just being like, you know what, you're super strong, and you broke my building.
Mm-hmm.
You need to die. Like I said, that bothered me. I will say though, that beginning scene with Bruce Wayne just blazing through the streets of Metropolis
Mm-hmm.
was phenomenal.
Yes.
And actually seeing from the tiny human perspective what
Mm-hmm.
happens when gods collide
Mm.
was great, and it actually set us up to see things from an angle we don't ever see them.
Right.
Like if we ever see that angle, it's like we see like these characters who like we see these humans that like all rallied together to help this person, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And like we get like that snippet amongst the debris of everything, and that's all we get. Instead, we see this guy who cares about the business that his family built and all this stuff, who is
And its
presumably
employees.
huh?
And its employees,
And its employees.
not just the business.
All right, yeah. Obviously, yeah. I really appreciated that they made
Yeah.
him out. They actually made him out like, look, he actually cares about literally every person that works in his business.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was really good.
Yeah.
But like this guy who's like trying as hard as he can to get to his business to get everyone out.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even his job. Like he owns the thing,
Yeah.
and he's like, I gotta get them out of there. I gotta get there, get them out of there. Like he's just blazing through the streets. It was amazing. It was amazing to me to see it from that perspective, and actually, it helps you understand how people can hate these heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Because from that ground level, that's what you see.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really good, and it needed to be done. Because really, it's not ever been done. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna get a little bit, we're gonna get a little taste of that in Civil War. Because they're gonna be like, look, you guys have done this and broke everything. You did this and broke everything. We're gonna make you register. Like that's the entire premise of Civil War.
Right.
But like this is the first time in a movie they've actually been like, look, superheroes might save the day, but there's always a giant cost.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that cost look like to those paying it?
Mm.
And it was I thought that was really powerful and awesomely done.
Yeah. Yeah.
That said, that whole rant was for the point of getting to. I think the reason that Bats had an issue with Supes and not with Wonder Woman is because Wonder Woman didn't destroy all of Metropolis in a fight with her buddy.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
Let's face it. We all know the reason that Bats has problems with Supes and not with Wonder Woman is because Wonder Woman looks like that. Let's face it.
Because Wonder
That's
Woman
really
played
all
by
it
Gal
comes down to.
Gadot, and it's fine. Like, I think it also helps that like while you know he's the entire movie just picturing Superman as nothing but Superman and just being this symbol and this problem. Like Wonder Woman, he met as just a woman.
Mm-hmm.
He met her that way first. And like I think that plays a huge part in it is like this chick, I met her. She stole my device thingy.
Yeah, that'll endear you to someone. Though to be fair, she did give it back.
Like, let's be to be more fair. This is also the guy who fell for Catwoman.
Also true.
Who also steals things. So
Obviously,
right now, Wonder Woman
to get on his good side, Superman just had to go steal something.
exactly. Like if he would have stole the sign off Wayne Towers instead of destroying it, Bruce would have been like,
Best buds.
yeah, like, well, at least you returned it. Let's go have coffee.
That's how it should have ended the universe.
I
Yes.
know. Oh, excuse me. Eros is correcting me. Wonder Woman didn't steal. She borrowed.
She did borrow.
Yes.
But so, I guess that's the thing. It's like, at no point did Bats have an opportunity to view Wonder Woman as a threat. The first time there's anything weird about her is that she is like 200 years old.
Yeah.
And then the next time he sees her, it's because she's helping fight this creature that Bats has no chance against.
Yeah. It's still, I felt like it would have been nice if we'd gotten some of that actually said. You know?
Yes.
Yes, there are reasons, and I agree with you. You can rationalize it. Absolutely. It would have been nice if they'd said some of that.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Or even just he thinks she's hot, and that's good enough.
Well, let's face it. When he first sees her, he's hitting on her. So
It's totally true.
we know what he thinks about her appearance already.
Yeah, and that's before he sees her in the Wonder Woman getup.
Yeah. Okay, during that fight, I can't be the only one that saw this. Anybody else notice that Wonder Woman is getting a little turned on? There's one point where like she's got this look on her face that's saying, "Yes, give me more."
Yeah.
I don't remember this.
You saw it twice. Who in
There
the...
was soup, remember?
Yeah, I was like, who brought soup to a movie theater? For the record, you know that there is a brand of soup called Soup Man, right?
No.
There's a real thing. I saw at Kroger the other day.
I have to get some. Or at least tweet you a picture of it. And we work at a grocery store. I should be able to see it.
Is that why you're asleep?
Yes.
Okay.
Speaking of Soup Man, I just remembered
Why do we
one
have
of
to
the,
speak of
the
Soup Man?
upcoming DC movies is Shazam.
So maybe he's the seventh.
Or would he be the eighth?
Yeah, didn't we establish that
They were already seven.
yeah, everyone we've established are people we know are getting movies.
Green Lantern's getting another movie?
We know.
Yes, so it's
I thought we
after
knew.
like Justice League 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, I thought we knew we were getting Jon Stewart.
I
Yes.
didn't. So,
Well, right. I meant we as the people.
yeah.
Yeah. So 8. That's weird.
That's a
That's a
lot.
lot.
And especially when you're including that's going to have characters like Green Lantern, Superman, Shazam, Wonder Woman, Batman. That's pretty high caliber.
Hmm. Yeah. So the Doomsday fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doomsday fight, where Doomsday and Supes have locked laser eyes.
Mm-hmm. Or laser eyes to laser face.
Hmm.
That was weird. I'm sorry. That was just weird. I appreciated the um the nuking of both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I had to tell Heather, I'm like, that is straight out of Dark Knight Returns,
Yeah.
minus Doomsday. Doomsday wasn't there,
Right.
but the nuking Superman, him floating there, you being like, oh, bad day,
Mm-hmm.
and him pulling himself back together essentially. Like that's straight out of it.
Yeah. There were also I felt a lot of allusions to Kingdom Come,
Oh,
which also effectively has that scene.
I guess it was hard to tell because it wasn't told from the perspective of a ghost.
Right. But just
Yeah,
the very idea of having these people is dangerous to everyone.
yeah,
That's straight out of Kingdom Come.
yeah. Oh
Hmm.
yeah,
So I noticed a lot of that when I was watching it.
yeah. Kingdom Come never crossed my mind, but Dark Knight Returns had to,
Hmm.
and then Death and Life of Superman had to.
Yeah.
Those ones were the obvious ones, but I definitely see what you're talking about with Kingdom Come.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's also an older Batman story.
Yeah,
But
that's an older everyone story,
yes.
and then that one also has Supes and Wonder Woman hooking up,
Yeah.
and I prefer it to be Bats and Wonder Woman. If we're pairing Wonder Woman off with someone, if that's a thing we're doing, Bats and Wonder Woman's my preference. But
I want to see if we get to some of Superman's crazier hairstyles. Yeah, one of which was in the Return of Superman. He had a pretty wacky hairstyle. Kingdom Come, he had a ponytail. I mean, we got options.
please no, just please.
I think he should pull off the man bun.
I'll quit. I'll quit. I'd be like, put him back in the ground. Revive Doomsday. Put him in the ground. Still don't know how I feel about Supes being able to fly wielding a kryptonite spear.
Yeah. Hooray for the kryptonite has varying levels of effect depending on how the plot needs Superman to act.
Yep.
Eros says they should give Superman Leia hair.
Yes.
I will quit. I'll be done.
DC isn't owned by Disney yet, so
Yeah, we're more likely to see,
Thor. Yep.
Thor.
Thor with Leia hair.
Yep.
We can see Thor's girlfriend with Leia hair.
Now, it'll be after they get on to Lady Thor.
So anyway, but yeah, so I don't. And also, someone brought up a point of like, why did Lois go back after that spear?
Just thought it'd be helpful. I
Why?
mean, they let. Oh yeah, she wouldn't have known any of that, would she?
No, she wasn't anywhere near that conversation.
Huh.
Yeah.
She saw crap going down, was like, they might want that spear thing.
She's the one who threw it down there, though, because she saw what it did to Superman and because he was being a pansy.
Right. All the more reason for her not to bring it back.
Yeah, like, as far as she knows at this point, the only purpose for that spear is to kill Soups.
Yeah.
Like, I guess if you wanted to almost make her an amazing detective, almost make her the world's greatest detective,
Mm-hmm.
Superman had flown off to confront Lex at the crashed pod, at the crashed spaceship. So, in theory, she could have put together that because crap was going on, and that was the last place Superman went, something had gone on with the pod. Since the kryptonite works on Kryptonians, whatever was going on with the pod would have been relevant.
Maybe.
That is an amazing connection to make, though.
Yeah.
When all you've got to go off of is lightning.
Yeah.
So,
all the more reason that should have been Aquaman. And he gets the spear to kill all of them.
stop throwing your bodies in my water! Everybody's dead now. Justice League is over, now it's done. I have no... That, to me, that might be the biggest problem I have with the whole movie. Because what I just did was the best reconciliation I can give for that.
Yeah.
Every other problem with the movie can come down to they made a choice about the character I didn't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is a literal plot hole.
Interesting.
I think it came down to she needed more screen time.
They're like, look, we're paying her up for this.
It
We
was
might
in
as
her
well get some
SAG
use out of her.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love Amy Adams, but oh, let's see. I appreciate the fact of like we saw like the only thing we didn't see from Wonder Woman's arsenal was her throw her tiara.
Yeah.
And her invisible jet, but yeah.
But let's face it, we'll never see the invisible jet.
Still the dumbest idea ever. I'm sorry.
Especially now that Wonder Woman flies.
Maybe that was the invisible jet.
Yeah, the invisible jet to fly it, you actually have to lay down.
Yes.
It just looks like she's flying.
Like the Batmobile.
But, I mean, in the comics, the new Wonder Woman flies.
Right.
It was the old Wonder Woman who needed the invisible jet, and it did not last very long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But somehow
Because
it
an invisible
became
jet is a
infamous.
stupid idea. But yeah, so trying to think here. But yeah, so like they showed off her entire arsenal. I'm like, that's pretty good. You managed to show off her entire arsenal in a 5-minute fight.
Yeah.
Also, it made me feel a lot better because in the TV spots and the trailers, Batman's wielding that giant gun.
Uh-huh.
I was always real annoyed by that. And then it's like, oh wait, it shoots a kryptonite gas grenade. I'm okay now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's cool. Bats uses gadgets, not guns. Gadgets.
Yep.
Yes, this gadget is technically a gun, but so
Like
is the grapple gun.
front-mounted um, machine guns on the Batmobile. Gadgets.
Guns. Those are guns. Those fired bullets.
You don't know that.
Like the sniper rifle that fired the tracker. That was cool. It shot a tracker. Yeah. Kryptonite gas grenades. That's 100% Batman.
Mm-hmm.
That is a classic Bat.
Mm-hmm.
Machine guns that he bought off of the black market eBay. Like, no, never. Though I do want to say, the Bat Cave in this one was like the most satisfying looking Bat Cave I've seen in any of the movies. For me.
Mm.
Like, you had your giant freaking computer over in this corner. You had your tech crap over here. You had a place to park the Batmobile. You had an upper layer. Like, I was like, I like this.
Yeah.
I like this. It's not just a cave under the house. It's got crap in it.
Interestingly, not connected to the house at all.
Wasn't it under his new house?
Yeah. Not Wayne Manor.
I don't know how I felt about the whole him living not in Wayne Manor part, but
I heard a very interesting theory about that.
That he burned it down?
No. Well, I don't remember if that's part of it or not. That's not the bulk of the theory.
Go for it.
Okay. It comes, I don't remember who posted it originally, but it's based on, the first observation was that Ben Affleck's Batman is the old Batman. But of course we're getting Jared Leto's Joker, who is not that old.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we get multiple references in Batman versus Superman. Batman has dealt with the Joker before.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems a little bit at odds, the age difference. Whereas normally, pretty much every version of the characters, they're about the same age.
Mm-hmm.
Someone posited that Jared Leto's Joker is actually Jason Todd.
Oh, interesting.
The suit on display that Batman walks past that has the "ha-ha, joke's on you" was Jason Todd's. There are apparently bullet holes in it, which match scars on Jason Leto's Joker. And that would be why Bruce Wayne, Batman, is no longer centered at Wayne Manor. That's why the Batcave's no longer there. Because Jason Todd knows where all of that is.
Mm-hmm.
It would also make sense then for if Jason Todd was going to go Joker, he literally could have just been the one that burned it down.
Yeah.
Like, that's also entirely possible. That is a very interesting theory. Not to have him be literally killed by the Joker,
Turned into.
but be killed in the same way that Anakin Skywalker was killed.
Yeah. He becomes the Joker.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting idea. It explains why he's so much younger. Because, of course, he was Batman's ward for a while.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting idea. I'm not sure if they're going to go for that in any way, but
I would be highly surprised if they did.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be impressed. Don't get me wrong. I'd be impressed. But I don't want to get my hopes up. Because, all I wanted out of this movie was all these fight scenes that we saw between Batman and Superman. Like the one where he's trapped in the cave that turned out to be a dream sequence.
Yeah.
Like every scene that we saw in the trailers, I wanted those to be scenarios that Batman was running to figure out what he would do. Because that's very Bats.
Right.
That is very Batman. And then it turned out to be dreams. and it was fine. It was fine. But like, so I hate to get my hopes up
Uh-huh.
on another like, do they do something super clever? No, they went the safe route.
My prediction is that they don't ever identify who the Joker is.
Agreed.
What I'm curious to see is if there will be more hints that even could be the case. Especially since it looks like Ben Affleck's Batman is in that movie.
Yeah. Our luck, our luck. They're gonna be like, no, that's not Jason Todd. It's Dick Grayson.
Yeah,
And I'll be
they're
like,
gonna do.
screw you.
They're planning to do the Batman Beyond Joker Returns. That's the Joker they're doing.
I'm done. I'm out. Goodbye, world.
Well, I hate to be the one to wrap this up, but I've got some place I need to be in about 10 minutes, so I'm going to either jump out. I don't know if you guys want to still talk. So
I don't
I'm
know.
going.
Well, Bundy, since you have to leave, you want to give your finishing thoughts on this?
It was an all right movie. I'm excited to see where it goes.
All right, everybody. That was Andy Bundy. Thank you for coming to the show. Where can people find you, and what are you doing?
Well, find me on Facebook, bbundy09. It's my fan page. Twitter, Andy_Bundy. YouTube, just Google search Andy or YouTube search Andy Bundy, and you'll find me on there. Currently, I'm not doing any active projects, but I'm in the process of getting some things underway. It's just not done yet at this point. I'm waiting on some tech to get here. So
I know that feeling.
Yep. So I will see you guys later.
Ta-ta for now,
And
Bundy.
see ya.
Yep.
All right, so that begs the question. I think we're probably close to wrapping. Anyway,
Yeah.
so we've talked most of this movie, but I don't know. Do you have any? What are your? We have anything else you needed to talk about involving this movie,
Involving this movie.
or obviously where this series is going, because that counts too. This was called Dawn of Justice, so
Right.
we can go either direction.
I am really curious to see where they go, how long before they bring Superman back, what movie that's going to be,
The
stuff
next one.
like that.
The next one. They're not going to leave him dead.
Yeah.
Like,
But I'm hoping not the next one, because the next one's Suicide Squad. That would be weird.
he's literally going to show up in Suicide Squad.
No explanation. Just, he's alive again. We'll deal with it later.
I don't think we're going to get an explanation. I think he's just going to be alive again. The explanation is going to be, well, he's Superman. I'm going to be like, screw you.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They might, if I had to guess, they'll probably wait until the Justice League movie.
Yeah.
Everything will be going terribly, and all of a sudden, Superman will be there and save the day.
Yeah, that makes a certain amount of sense.
Annoyingly.
Yeah.
So
They could do, if they're looking for villains for the Justice League, they could do Reign of the Supermen. And the never-ending parade of not quite Supermen. And somehow they're all bad, because that's pretty much how it worked.
Yeah.
Until Superman gets back.
what about Lobo? I don't actually know hardly anything about his character. I know that he was an intergalactic bounty hunter.
Mm-hmm.
He appeared to have strength on the same level as Supes, or at least close.
Yeah.
So, like,
He got drastically rewritten recently.
did
Yeah. Back in 2011, the New 52.
he? Right.
He's practically a completely different character.
Oh well.
I mean, he still has all of those things. Just it's not the same.
She's not the same, man. She's not the same.
So I'd be surprised if they bring him on, especially since they've been trying to make him a little bit more, um, at least anti-hero-y.
Okay. So good
A
guy.
little less, yeah, a little less villainy than he has been in the past.
All right.
Unless they bring him in to be part of the Justice League, which would be awful.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
What about using one of the villains who was more not doesn't have the strength to match Superman, but like someone like Vandal Savage or someone like I had another one like Ra's al Ghul
Yeah.
or someone who's got like a lot of yeah, someone who's got a lot of resources, someone who can be doing so many things at once that even as fast and as strong as Superman is, he just can't be everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they could do Tower of Babel scenario or the Justice League Doom, the animated version.
Okay.
Which basically, Justice League Doom boils down to Vandal Savage steals Batman's plan to take out the Justice League.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, they could do that.
Interesting. But like, I guess the problem is like, in order for them to have someone who's actually specifically targeting the Justice League,
they have to already have done the Justice League.
Yeah, that has to be like Justice League 2.
Yeah.
Like the first Justice League has to be them establishing a league.
Right.
I'm expecting a lot of Nick Fury-esque moments in each of these movies.
Yeah. That
Like
would make a lot of sense.
The end of Flash, Batman just appears. Like he throws a batarang with a cable around his feet. Like, what the? Like, I need to talk to you. Thought you zipping away. We know who you are.
Yeah. So I don't know if Flash is actually coming out before the next Justice League movie.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. I know they aren't all. Justice League is like the fourth one out from here. So like Green Lantern isn't going to be before Justice League. I don't think Shazam is going to be before Justice League.
Well, like I can understand. Here we go. All right, what year are we in? All right, so we've got Suicide Squad coming out in August. We have Wonder Woman coming out next year. I'm not sure when this thing was updated.
Yeah.
But Wonder Woman coming out June of next year. Yeah, actually the Justice League movie comes out after that.
Yeah.
So all we're getting between now and then is Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which again goes to they're doing it differently than Marvel. They're starting with the group movies and then doing the individuals.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if they actually. I'd be curious to see if they actually keep it that way.
Yeah.
Or if they end up being like, we wanted to go this direction, but we decided that the first movie, and that plays back into what I had said already about Superman showing up.
Oh, absolutely.
In the next Justice League, it's like we haven't even established a full Justice League yet. We've only we maybe got a couple people.
Yeah.
And so we need help.
Yeah.
And that's when Supes shows up. Lego Batman, I'm not sure if it's gonna be canon in the same multiverse or not.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
It's got an unknown date, but it's projected for 2017.
That's what I hear.
Flash is
Mm,
coming out March of 2018.
okay.
Aquaman in July of the same year.
Okay.
Shazam comes out April 5th of 2019, with Justice League 2 coming out in June of that year.
Okay.
So we get Justice League 2 before we get Cyborg or Green Lantern.
Wow.
There's also allegedly um there are some movies that they don't know what year it's going to be yet. We have Justice League Dark,
Okay.
which
That could
sounds
be
like a
interesting.
third Justice League.
Oh, it's completely different.
I
Are you familiar with Justice League Dark at all?
I'm not. I was, but I mean, I was assuming that with the timeline, putting it in the DC movie universe,
Yeah.
I
Justice
was.
League Dark is the collection of the mystical DC characters. So Justice League Dark is led by Constantine.
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So that's Constantine, Zatanna, Deadman.
Mm-hmm.
Name the others kind of rotated and out. Those three are pretty standard.
Doctor Fate.
Sometimes, when he's not dead, you know.
Doctor Fate never dies. Just moves on.
Yeah, just the host.
I actually bought one of these last years. We were at con.
Uh-huh.
I bought a Doctor Fate comic. Uh,
Mhm.
of us. It was a collection of the story, and I was reading through it. And I was reading through it, and I got to the end. I got to the last chapter,
Mhm.
and there was this page saying the writer died before finishing.
Wow.
And so, like, they're like the entire. I'm sorry, it was part of the way through the last chapter.
Mhm.
They're like, this last chapter was pieced together through the stuff that he had already written down, but he hadn't finished it. So they got 5 of his closest friends
Mhm.
to write the ending they thought he would have come up with.
Wow.
So the story has 5 endings. It's actually pretty amazing. And next time you come over, I'll have to let you
Yeah.
take it and read it,
Yeah.
because it was pretty phenomenal to read, to be honest. Some of
I,
those
I believe
endings,
that.
some of those endings obviously didn't seem right.
Uh-huh.
They're like, no, no. A couple of them, you're like, maybe,
Mhm.
maybe, but they all were clearly written by someone who wasn't this person.
Right. Right.
Okay. We also allegedly, back to the movies,
Uh-huh.
have an untitled Superman movie and an untitled Batman movie, both of which without even a year to speak of.
Right.
So that's what we have as far as the DC lineup goes. We have
At least.
we have an annoying amount of Marvel on here. Marvel, I love you. I don't mean anything by that. But seriously, guys.
What? 4 movies a year for the next
Well,
4 years?
I guess I should be fair. The actual Marvel movies,
Mm.
I'm not separating the actual Marvel movies from the Fox
Oh.
and the Sony movies,
Yeah.
because they're all in this timeline together.
Uh-huh.
But still,
Yeah.
if this timeline is accurate, we have an unknown Marvel movie in 2018.
Uh-huh.
We have one coming out on May 4th and another one coming out on July 6th. We do not need, like, that. The July 6th one will come into theaters while the other one is still there.
Yes.
Marvel, that's completely unnecessary. Calm it down.
Yeah.
Is the killing... Oh. Eros sent me a message. Is the Killing Joke going to be a DCU thing?
Ooh.
I had heard tell of them making an actual an animated movie out of the Killing Joke.
I heard of that.
I thought that was confirmed, but don't I don't see them doing that movie with that.
Yeah.
That'd be impressive. And it would be an amazing movie.
Yes. Yes.
Gosh, if they did it right, it'd be actually with Ben Affleck's Batman.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That might be the most okay I'll ever be with this.
Yeah.
It might be the most okay I'll ever be with this. But
So again, a lot of that depends on what Jared Leto's doing with the Joker.
I guess in theory, the way Killing Joke ends,
Mm-hmm.
they could make the Killing Joke movie as a precursor to what happened in everything else.
That's possible.
Because they could use someone else's Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the end, it's supposed to be ambiguous whether or not Bats kills Joker.
Right.
Most people don't see it as ambiguous, but it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And like instead of having, like you obviously rewrite it a little bit,
Well, obviously.
and you have Jason Todd get in there and get in the way and get shot or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever turns him into Jared Leto's Joker, if that's what actually happens.
That's where you're going.
Yeah, if that's what actually happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can rewrite the entire bit about Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you can't rewrite the entire bit. You still need Gordon to have an issue, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean. You can rewrite most of it and fit that in there. That would be a good movie.
Yeah.
Shoot. But yeah, as far as I know, I don't think it's going to be a thing, and I don't know if anybody really wants it to be a thing because I think too many people are scared they'll ruin it.
Right. That is the issue with such a classic story. Is if you don't do it perfectly, you're not going to get anything off of it.
No, you'll be in deep doo doo.
Yeah.
So, all right. Oh, well. I'm hoping I'm hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
After seeing Batfleck and being rather impressed by him. Seeing Gal Gadot's portrayal of Wonder Woman, what we saw of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really hopeful. I'm excited for the Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah.
That I'm excited for. I'm curious what they're going to do with her origin story. If it's literally just going to be like, again, the problem is like I know the old origin story. I don't know what the New 52 did with her origin story.
Oh yeah.
Did she still steal her stuff?
I don't remember.
That's all right.
Sorry.
One way or another.
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see which way they go with that. It seems like they've taken a lot of influence from New 52, so
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if that's where they went. But
I wouldn't either.
Sorry, I found another picture of the another picture where people have the timeline for DC movies, and it has names under characters. Oh, that's right. Dwayne Johnson's going to be the bad guy in Shazam, isn't he? Totally forgot about him. I totally forgot about that. Because I'm looking at this picture and it was like Shazam, Dwayne Johnson. I'm like, what? They haven't cast Shazam yet. And then I finally remembered, yeah, he's going to be the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
But shoot, all right. So I don't know. I'm hopeful. Like this
Yeah,
movie was kind of going to be the thing that established whether or not we should have hope for the future or be sad that they're doing this.
right.
And
E-
for me, I thought it was much better than a lot of people gave it credit for.
I
Obviously,
definitely agree with that. Um, though most of the people that I've heard hated it. So
again, when I saw reviews of when I saw that the Rotten Tomatoes score was 30%,
mhm.
I was like, "There's no way. There's
uh,
no way. Did we even watch the same movie?"
yeah, yeah,
So I heard some people say 7 out of 10. I'm like, okay, that's completely respectable. That's perfectly fine.
I could go 7 out of 10. I can see that.
Like I thought it was better. I thought
Hmm.
it was better. Obviously, I've gone this
Obviously,
whole time arguing about why I think it's better,
right.
but the I couldn't fathom the super low scores.
Yeah, yeah. I don't get that. It was not bad by any means. Uh,
Like I think it's saying like we can all argue about things they should have done differently,
right.
but really when you break it down, one, if we all accept these characters
Hmm.
as this version of these characters,
Yeah.
like that's obviously a hard thing to do, and it's something you obviously when you decide how well you like a movie, you take into account whether or not you like the characters.
Right.
But you can't be like, I hated the portrayal of Batman 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
You can be like, I didn't like the portrayal of Batman, so I'm taking another point off or whatever.
Hmm.
But then you have to look at like, okay, well, the how was he portrayed well in the way that they decided to portray him?
Right.
So I don't know. This is also why I don't. This is why I don't rate things. Why I don't
Right.
do reviews.
Yeah. And
Awful.
I may, I get a chance to see it again. I may be more inclined to like it. It's hard to say.
Right.
I've only seen it once.
Right. I don't know. Maybe when you come for con, we'll have the DVD. We'll sit around and watch it.
Yeah. We'll see.
It'll be perfect. Um, but yeah, I'm hopeful.
Yeah. It was certainly good enough to give me hope for what else DC can pull out. So,
Yeah, I think it's just we all have to understand that when we go and see the DC movies, it's gonna
yeah,
be dark.
yeah,
When we go,
they're not the Marvel movies, and I
yeah,
think that's a good thing.
yeah, oh yeah, they shouldn't be the Marvel movies
Yeah,
because otherwise, then we would literally just be complaining that they're the Marvel movies.
right.
But now we're complaining that they're not the Marvel movies.
Yeah, it's really no win in that case.
Yeah,
That's the issue of they got to it too late. Period.
yeah, you
Marvel has
can't,
too many movies out for DC to be starting.
yeah, you can't win for losing. So, but I think it sounds like you think as well. Like this is a
Mhm.
great start to what will hopefully be a great series.
Yeah, I could definitely see, even from my opinion as it stands right now, this movie becomes so much better if the next one's good, if the one after that's good,
Mm-hmm.
because this movie is really set up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so if what it sets up for pays off, that makes this better, even if nothing else about it changes. You know, rewatching it or whatever, all of the problems are still there. It's not like I missed anything, but where the payoff, it pays, what it builds to pays off, then it's worth it.
Yeah.
And I
Absolutely.
definitely think there's at least the possibility of that.
No, that is entirely fair.
So, and again, I'd be interested to see it again, see if my opinion changes.
Yeah, I want to see it again, but I never even got around to seeing episode 7 again. So
Well, that
who
comes
knows?
out soon.
Yeah, yeah, right. So who knows? Who knows if I'm gonna actually make it around to see the second time? But
Yeah.
all right, do we have any lingering thoughts? Anything lingering that we must hit on?
I don't think so.
I think we very much covered it as well.
Yeah.
So, well, Eric, thank you for joining me.
Happy to do so.
It was a pleasure as always.
Yes.
Viewers, thank you for joining us.
Yes, indeed.
Specifically you, Eros, who has actually been posting things into sending me questions and stuff
Yes.
through
You helped
Twitter.
keep us on track.
It was nice. It was useful. It was handy. I liked it. I don't know how often we're ever going to do these. These are always kind of These are always kind of like we see a thing and I'm like, we should talk about this.
It's spur of the moment, and then it takes us 3 weeks to make it happen.
Right. But so this will happen again. Who knows when?
At some
Probably
point.
it'll at least happen when Wonder Woman comes out.
Yeah.
It always has to now.
Yeah. Possibly
So-
even Suicide Squad, though. We'll see.
I don't know. I'd be up for talking about Suicide Squad. But
Yeah.
so who knows? Who knows when this will come up again? But it will inevitably come up again. So be subscribed to this channel if you want to see it. See us.
You never know
Rave
when it
about
will
it.
be.
As always, my stuff is on Obi-Wan362 on YouTube and everywhere else. Because luckily it's not exactly a username people try to grab. And Eric, you don't have stuff.
Yeah, I am unreachable. I don't post stuff. I don't have accounts and stuff. I just do
So-
this because it's fun.
I bring him in because he knows more about comics than I do. I'm a superhero fan, but I haven't read that many comics, and that's why I make the distinction of I'm a superhero fan, not necessarily a comic book fan.
We comic book fans appreciate the distinction.
I know you do, but so that's why it's important to bring you in because you actually know more about this the source material than either me
Right.
or Bundy. So anyway, thank you all for watching this. Hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, this podcast is adjourned.